has actually been somewhat of a blessing to have us look at what we're doing a little different and make sure that we didn't miss a meal, and the meals went out, but it was an opportunity to say, how can we do this differently, and yet still deliver the meals and the service and the touching in a sense, and a remote touching as a what we also one of the other things we do is what we call financial food and furniture assistance. We help the working poor. A lot of folks think Naples is just a very, very rich community. Yes, we have that, but we also have a lifestyle that's driven on service workers. The folks making 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bucks an hour. And when they hit a financial bump in the road, we're there to help. And so by doing that, we're actually helping not only the families, but we're helping their employers and the community at large. So between Meals on Wheels and the financial assistance, we're kind of all over every aspect of the community life in Naples. And we've only been here for 43 years. So I don't blame everybody for not knowing who the heck we are. Yeah. That's actually what came back in a study, was nobody knows that we're here. So we've been trying to do a better job. COVID's a little, bumpy road, but trying to do a better job getting the word out of who we are, what we do, what we are and what we're not. We're a Catholic organization, but we get no money from the Catholic Church. Totally private funded, no government money. So that's kind of the message that we're trying to deliver to everybody, so they understand what we're doing, but also why it's helpful if they would give us a donation.
And that's so necessary in today's world too, isn't it? Just all the different pivots that we've had to do. Scott, as he's been talking of that, do you see the difference between your two organizations on how they have to, because your meals are prepared?
Right. We still, even through the pandemic, we had people that were willing to come in every day with their masks on, and the kitchen's big enough where they can stand apart. We got one at the stove and one all the way across the room, putting fruit in the trays or whatever and staying apart. And it was worked out. We're so proud of those people that are willing to be able to do that. And there have been many of our kitchen volunteers that said, I just can't feel comfortable with that, because they're over 75 and they just can't do that and feel comfortable. Same way with our drivers, that we've lost several drivers, but we've added so many people. It's amazing how many people have come out in support of not just because they want to get out of the house, but because they really want to get out and help other people and feel a part of something bigger than themselves. And it's really worked out for everyone how big this is. And we've grown. We have over 200 people that are active, either driving or cooking or whatever. And that's, we thought we would probably have to go to frozen meals, some kind of prepackaged meals, or switch to every other day or something like that. And it's some kind of miracle that we've been able to do that every day and have a visit every day. Because like Bill said, with the phone calls, that's one of the things that we recommend is the Northport Police Department has something like that, and you can sign up for that. So even if you don't need the Meals on Wheels, you can sign up for a daily phone call, have your loved one checked on, which is one of the main things. Like you said, people from out of state want to talk and make sure grandma's okay or their mom's okay or whoever, and they know that we're checking on them. But if they don't get food, if maybe they only need food Monday, Wednesday, Friday or whatever, but the police department can check on them the other days. And if they don't pick up, then they'll go knock on their door and make sure everybody's okay. That's important.
Yeah, and that is important because there are people that have nobody. And right. you're the only lifeline that person has, and you're the only person that they see. Those people that deliver those are the only people that they see. So
yeah, there's so many people that their emergency contact is either the person next door or across the street or whatever. That's the only people that know whether they're doing okay or not.
Yeah, I was shocked. I got here in November last year and interviewed the folks at the county. And Collier County handed me a piece of paper and said, we have 9,600 seniors over the age of 70 who live alone on less than $13,000 a year. And that just blew me away. I mean, a lot of them have support systems, have friends and folks from church and that kind of thing, but still 9,600. You can see how, we service roughly about 130 to 135 to 145. Obviously, the number changes. But you can see how there's a lot more need in the community. And like I said, nobody knows we're here, so that hasn't helped.
Bill, do you cover all of Collier County, or are there other Meals on Wheels organizations that cover pieces of that?
What I've discovered is there are folks who may do Meals on Wheels like small M, small W, out of churches and community senior centers and that kind of thing. But we are the largest entity. The county has some state money, but when they run out of money or the need exceeds, they just send them to us. So, and what I'm trying to do, I told Marie yesterday, what I'm trying to do is, instead of looking at it from a glass half empty, we're a nonprofit, we can't take on, because once you commit, as you know, Scott, once you commit to Meals on Wheels, in our case, it's a meal a day forever, and that's not cheap. I mean, so, I'm trying to get the folks here to realize, don't look at it that way. Where are we going to get the money? I believe there's enough money in this community that if we set a goal and say, listen, we want to be able to take at least X, and right now that's 225 folks. If they come to us, will you give us the money? And the communities respond. We doubled donations last year. We had the best year we've had since Irma, which is kind of horrible. But I think you mentioned something, Scott, and that's, I was worried that everybody would forget about these people, because everybody, healthy or not, was homebound. They were sheltering in place. I really thought their minds would shut off on the people who are always sheltering in place, who have to because they're homebound and so forth. But they really didn't. It's almost like everybody's antennae went up and said, oh, if I'm at home, what about those folks? And we saw a huge response to folks. Everybody got it, which was great.
Yeah, there are so many people that said, I can't imagine that I'm having to stay at home here for this month. What if I had to live at home and couldn't get out ever? What would that be like? And that really connected made the connection for people.
When you go out and you've met all those folks, and you go out on the routes and meet the recipients, you realize a lot of them have outlived their support system. And that's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault. That is life, and you just look and you feel so bad because there really isn't anybody, other than maybe a church acquaintance and so forth. And some of them have outlived those folks as well. And it's just, you see folks in their 90s and thinking, and I'm glad we're doing and you're doing what you're doing. Because the community really gets it. When you say Meals on Wheels, everybody lights up. I love it. I mean, you don't really.
They know what it means, exactly. It's just like you said, they may not know exactly where you are, but they know what it means and how it cares for people
on a daily basis. It's interesting in Florida, where no one's from here. The story is like, and it's a story from Michigan or Wisconsin. And I love it because then they've taken what they know and they attached it to us. And once that happens, it's kind of like, okay, great. They're going to remember who we are and what we do.
That's the great thing about snowbirds, is they can serve in two different places, and they can share what they know or have learned from there, or stories from up there. That's one of my favorite parts. You talked about going out on the routes. If we need a sub on Saturday or whatever, I'll go out and wear my Purdue shirt and talk to everybody and say, okay, here's all the Michigan State or the Michigan people, or especially those nasty Ohio State people.
Well, no one likes them.
But it's good. You know, there's as many men living alone as there are women, and that's
Right.
the is. Oh, my grandson went to Purdue or went to the Big Ten school or whatever, and it gets them talking. That they just love thinking back to, and makes them think of their family and makes them feel connected to something. And then they love sharing stories about their grandkids anyway. So it's a good time.
I know I was on a route the other day where we had Christmas gifts and extra food and for Thanksgiving, and we're delivering it. And the husband and wife came out with the T-shirts with the picture of the grandkid, or maybe even great grandkid on their shirt. So you're right; they, anything to talk about their family, back home.
Mm-hmm.
As you boys we're talking on air, and
Your hat.
yeah, I was.
Did you just change your hat?
Yeah, that's what I did. That's my thing. Change my hat. And I have to do an apology out here. And I missed one of the best Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives because I have to switch venues. I can only do 4 hours since, and I can come into this, and you've done tests with me before. I didn't hit the words go live, and it's my fault, but I could only go live on YouTube. So we're YouTube live now, but I missed the whole last hour where the Peace River Wildlife was in the Animal Welfare League. So I'm going to end up having to do a new interview with them because it was, and I apologize to the audience. You guys are live right now on YouTube, so we're good. But the people, the last hour, yeah, that's what happens when I'm doing my tech and I'm also hosting. I'm doing it because I would have caught it right away. But they came running in with a note here. You're not on YouTube Live either. So I go, okay, what do I have going on? That's why I went off air with you guys. And I really love your conversation. So I'm going to take myself off screen in that so you can continue that conversation because you live the world. You're the ones out there actually doing the work. And I want to know what your needs are because, Scott, you said that you didn't really lose many volunteers through this.
Yeah, well, we gained volunteers. People come and go and especially at Christmas time, we get snowbirds, but then people are trying to leave, and as soon people are looking to get out of the state as quickly as they can, and they're not able to, and so it's always tricky getting everybody scheduled for each month as we fill out the calendar. So if there are other people that want to help out, we're glad to have them. That's absolutely true.
What's the commitment for doing Meals on Wheels? How much do I get?
So if you want to drive for Northport Meals on Wheels, you can start out as a substitute driver. We'll get you trained on a route, and it'd be one day. If you're a substitute, we'll just call you the most. If you're a full-time driver, you take one day a week and drive a route. We've got 8 different routes, so we've got about 50 people a week full-time, and then they have doctor's appointments or whatever is going on, and or somebody near them has COVID, so they have to stay at home for a couple weeks and fill in or anything like that. So substitutes, we'll just call you a week or 2 ahead of time. The times that we drive, you get there between 9 and 9:30, and you're done before lunchtime. Usually it's a couple hours or less. So it's not a major commitment, but it makes a difference to the people that you serve, and you can talk to some people. Maybe you have a dozen or 15 people on the route, and just like that. So if you're in the kitchen, it's still one day a week. We have different teams every day, and so you come in about 7:30, and you're done before 9:30. So,
well, what about you, Bill?
Well, let me just correct one thing you said that I'm on the front line. I'm not. I'm the development guy. My job is to get the money. This year we'll need $275,000 in donations to deliver 54,750 meals. So let me back up. So we are volunteer driven. We have we have 16 people on staff, and that includes the folks who run our 3 thrift stores. So we don't go a lot deep on the staff side. We have, the last count, 800 volunteers. Now, that sounds like when you deliver, we were delivering Meals on Wheels every day, 5 days, sorry. And then on Friday, they 3 meals are delivered to cover the weekends. But as soon as COVID hit, we switched over to 2 days a week. And a lot of that was driven by the fact that our volunteers, like I said, decided they were safer, sheltering at home. So we are calling all our volunteers saying, are you ready to come back, and so forth. And honestly, COVID's still there. Yeah. And so we've expanded back to 3 days a week delivery. But again, it's being driven by the lack of volunteers coming back, which again, we understand, and we can function, whatever is thrown at us, we'll figure out how the meals go out every day, or 3 days. But that is, we're always looking for volunteers. I can't tell you exactly how it's structured route wise and that kind of thing, but there are folks here who can explain to anybody who wants to volunteer.
And you know what? Volunteering is priceless. That's a
Right.
gift that of somebody of giving to themselves. And so many times people say, well, I don't have anything to give. I get that all the time. Actually, when we were going through teaching people about Giving Tuesday and actually what it's not about the money. It's about your generosity of yourself. It's also taking the gifts that you do have. And I've had people say to me, well, I don't have any gifts. Every person has a gift. There's something that you are able to do, whether it's your time or even helping a neighbor, or you can be that person that writes that little note to somebody. I imagine the people that are shut in for Meals on Wheels would love to have just a handwritten note for somebody. If that's something that you're already shut in and you can do in today's world, I know a lot of people send emails or their Christmas cards by email, but maybe this is a year to actually take today, write a note, write a Christmas card to somebody that you haven't for years. Mend those fences with, with the relatives. You know how sometimes, you grow up with people and you may not be in the same best place that you were as a kid, and there has been animosity. And I know that you work with some of that, don't you? Don't you see that with Meals on Wheels, even because the family has disassociated themselves with that person?
Yep.
And this is a time to really mend fences, because when it comes back down to everything, it's about people. It's about, to be there to care for people, to lend the gift that you have, lend that olive branch, and try to mend some of those fences that you broke over the time, or the people that are, Scott and Bill, you probably are better at the front lines. And Bill, I know you said you're not at the front lines, but you do get out there. Do you see that a lot? Do you see that there's a disassociation with the people's families, many times?
You have the whole variety. I mean, you have people that are calling to check on mom every day, and they're so happy that we're taking care of her and doing the best we can, because she's out in Nevada and mom's down in Florida or whatever, and she just can't get here, and can't fly right now, or even and it is so sad that she can't come because she hasn't seen her in such a long time, and it's 6 months longer than she wanted to be. And then there's other ones where you've got your next of kin or whatever, and you try and call them, and they won't return their calls or whatever, and they don't care, and the next door neighbor is really the one taking care of them or whatever, and everything in between. It's just amazing. Some people are connected and some aren't, and it's just it's how families are sometimes, and we're glad that we can fill in the gaps however we can, however much we can. Sometimes it's more than others, and just even which kids are willing to pay for mom and dad to have Meals on Wheels, or say, even if mom and dad aren't really sure whether they even want it or not, the kids want to pay for it and get them started on it, and see if they like it, see if they can eat a little bit better than what they're doing right now. And then, other ones are not. And we're glad to help subsidize however we can in between too. So.
And what is go ahead, Bill.
Now, I was going to say we have about 10% of the folks that we serve actually pay for the meals. The rest of them, are subsidized or totally subsidized. So what we're trying to do is, and I was amazed when I first got here that it's like we have volunteers who'll deliver to someone who's actually paying for it. I thought, oh no, I must deliver to somebody, but it makes so much sense. If you're unable to cook, you're either disabled, temporarily disabled, or just so frail and old but yet you have the wherewithal to pay for it. The whole process works really well, and you still have that gratitude. They don't treat you like Uber Eats.
No, they don't.
They understand that the volunteers are delivering these meals. So.
And what does it cost normally? And I imagine different areas have a different fee.
We have our meals right now. Like I said, we buy them from and they get wild reviews, which is great. They come frozen. We buy them from a company that makes them for hospitals and large nursing homes and that kind of thing. So the cost right now is about $3.45 a meal. And then when you add what little overhead we have, it works out to a little over $5. So that's the number we use from a fundraising standpoint. So when a group says, hey, I want to give you X number of dollars, or how much do you want? What we do is try to translate that into, if you give us 10,000, it'll buy X number of meals, it'll feed. We were just actually 5 minutes before I went on, I received an email. We're getting $49,700. And it's basically to pay for all the meals from Thanksgiving to Christmas for all our recipients. That's,
Isn't that awesome?
They understood exactly why we needed such a strange amount.
That's right.
49.7. Yeah.
And today's Giving Tuesday. What a great gift.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was great.
Absolutely, to do that, because I was going to ask you, what would it cost to do a person for a year? To help subsidize one person, because that might be a gift out there that people could give, if you're looking for a way to help somebody. I would say that Bill and Scott, you both would identify the people that are in the most need when somebody gives a gift like that. And what are your greatest needs? I know money is always one of the
it's money and time, right? That's the main thing. Right. You've got to buy the food, and you've got to fix the food, get it out there. So those are the two main things that we're looking for.
There you go. Yeah, it would to sponsor one person for an entire year's. I did the math real quick. $1,825. Yeah.
Wow. So go ahead.
And that's the big thing. When I got here, there really was no development director, and the board, you could see, was kind of like, if we take one more person on, we have to raise $2,000. And how do we take on 5, and how do we take on 10, and then again, and our event is only raising X and that kind of thing. So to be able to go out there and spin it a different way, I'd say. Trying to get folks. I'm approaching a lot of companies who have seniors as their customers. Whether you're a home care company or a bank, or especially in Naples, I mean, pretty much the entire market is retirees. But showing them that if you sponsor Meals on Wheels, your customers are going to understand it. They're already seniors. They can make that connection, and you can make that connection because that's your audience. And that seems to be resonating across the business community.
Yeah, on our website, we've got an Adopt a Client page if you go to the Giving page. And so if you don't want to do the math, just go to the page and say, I want to sponsor somebody for a year or half a year or whatever the numbers are on the website. So.
And that's Northport Meals on Wheels, correct?
Yeah, .org.
And I'll steal that. So it'll be on my
Correct that.
website.
Yeah, put the math on your page, and that's the best way to do it.
Oh, that's well, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring different organizations on together. Like you are similar, but you're not. I mean, you're serving the same type of situation, but you're run a little bit different.
Everybody does it a different way. Venice does the same thing because they're out of Village on the Isle, and they get their food from Village on the Isle. They don't have their own kitchen, but they still get the food out to the people that need it. So everybody does it a different way. So more of our overhead helps pay for the kitchen or whatever, and
Right.
so we have more overhead there, and it's a little bit less for the food because we do it ourselves, and it all comes out to $5. No matter how you do the math. I think Sarasota does 5 or 6, but they have a little bit more different cereal bars and other things like that. And
Okay.
I know that other Meals on Wheels have gotten into dog and cat food and things that we haven't got into yet. And
That's interesting.
there's always different ideas that different people do, just depending on what their clients need or what they've brought up and how fast you want to grow and what everything else you want to do.
Yeah, we have Publix. We have some other entities that'll supplement the meal. So whether it's Danish or bread and so forth. So all that will come in the morning, and then based on what we have, it'll go out with the meals with the drivers, and they know their clients, as Scott will attest to. The drivers know the recipients. Who has a sweet tooth? Who doesn't want any of that? They want bread, they want rolls, they want only dry bread, that kind of thing. So it's nice to be able that it isn't just a frozen meal that you're kind of handing them, but there's some choices and variety and that kind of thing. And it helps the communication too, so that everybody's friendly, with each other.
Yeah, it's amazing how much Publix does throughout Florida, and that's what I did this morning. Was I went to 2 different Publixes and picked up a van load of bread and cookies, and I think there were 3 big cakes in there and different things like that, and then we'll hand that out, bread on Thursdays and desserts on Fridays, and then of course, if you need the diabetics, if you click on Adopt a Client right there, you can see see the people, and I think the math is at the bottom if you want to. There you go. So,
that's actually excellent that you can see. We currently serve 100 to 110 clients a day, and with the price and 50% receive a reduced rate that they can't afford. Now, in Naples, that's amazing. Only 10% aren't subsidized. That's crazy. And this is what it costs. And so that is one way that anybody out there can help. And you could adopt a client for a month, a client. And do you call them clients?
That's what we call them, is they're clients, whether they're 50 or 100 or somewhere in between. Yeah.
We've called them recipient neighbors is one term. It really just depends on which volunteers you talk to. I mean, we call them neighbors, recipients, clients,
friends,
family.
Friends.
There have been so many drivers that we've had to do it, have done it 5 or 10 years, and they've done the same route for those people, and they are essentially family members for them, and they'll take something else to them in their spare time or check on them or whatever. They love these people, and
now, if I volunteer, do I volunteer just for the several days that's convenient for me, or do you have people that volunteer all 5 days a week?
We don't have anybody that's doing 5 days a week. Usually they're just doing 1 day a week because we've got enough people to do that. But if you're a sub, then you could be on any day, and if you have a flexible schedule or whatever, that we may call you more than once if we're.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't really take up a whole week like you're working a full time.
Oh no. Most people do 1 day a week.
Yeah. And when you. I went on the routes that we have in and around Marco Island, and I mean the food comes delivered to a park near at South Naples on the way to Marco. So the food shows up at 8:15 ish, and you can complete your route before 10. you know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's
And
not
go
a
play golf. We have a lot of people that ride together and then go play golf in the afternoon.
There you go. Yeah.
That's, and that's interesting for people to actually learn about that, because if you do want to volunteer, it's a good way to volunteer. You become friends with people that are doing the route along with the clients that they're servicing. And what a better way to do social, have a social life with somebody that actually has the same interests as you. Because if they're helping deliver, then they already have that interest that you already have a passion for.
There are a lot of ladies that ride together and then go have lunch afterwards, and a few of them even go drive their route and then go back. Before COVID, especially, they would go eat lunch with a client too.
There you go.
Now,
And I'm sure Scott does this. We have a Christmas party for all our volunteers. We have a volunteer luncheon, at a different time. Of course, COVID is, throwing a monkey wrench into everything, but it's an opportunity for them to meet other folks who are driving, but they're driving on the other side of the county, So
yeah, that was the neat thing. We actually had our volunteer appreciation. Our luncheon was scheduled and we ended up canceling it because it was about March 15th, and we had it all planned out, and we had to drop it about a week before it was planned. We finally got everybody together. What we did was we had a volunteer appreciation. We had, since COVID used to be, everybody drove the routes. They would go into the kitchen, pick up their food, and they could talk to each other and mingle. And they haven't been able to do that. We've been doing one route at a time. We had our volunteer appreciation in the parking lot each day last week, and everybody got in their cars and they could get out and stay arm's length apart and talk to each other. And they really had realized how much they missed at seeing each other at the same time once a week, and that all that community of people who really care about doing the same thing and making a difference. And because the kitchen people have still been able to do that throughout COVID and see their team together, but a lot of the drivers have missed out on that because they're each coming 10 minutes apart in the parking lot one at a time, and just getting it out the door instead of being able to come in together and being in that community. And that makes a big difference.
We've had to do the same thing. We had to stagger the pickup. So instead of everybody kind of coming to the main office to pick up the food, now it's they dribble in and dribble out.
Yeah.
So.
And we still get to see them, but they don't get to see each other as much because you might be half an hour apart and are on their way. So that was really neat to see, because I still haven't, I became president in January. It's actually started as route coordinator a year and a half ago. And so I still haven't been to a luncheon yet to see what that's really like. But I have seen what volunteer appreciation looks like in the parking lot.
There you go.
It happened, and they don't care as much to get a gift card. They say that's nice, but that's not really why I do it. They do it because they want to help out people.
Absolutely.
They're glad that we recognize them, but that's not what they're doing it for.
And that's probably the toughest thing that's happened in COVID. I mean, we had to cancel. You're right. We had a March 30th donor appreciation lunch, our first one, and we had to cancel that, followed by the golf tournament, followed by volunteer appreciation, followed by. I mean, we had to cancel the golf tournament when it was rescheduled. We still had to get, So I'll be glad when we can stop canceling things.
Speaking of golf tournaments, I mean, that's what we're so thankful that a lot of these community foundations, that people that live on the golf course have still really come through for us, even without their golf tournament. They found other ways to raise the money or just get everybody in the neighborhood up, and they came through for us big time. And we are just so thankful for all those little foundations that are still helping people in the community, because they see the value in it, especially now when you can't visit people as much as you used to. So we're a Catholic organization. Like I said, we get no money from the Catholic Church. We get a lot of money from the people who go to Catholic Church, but that's where we have a pantry that we use for the financial assistance piece, and all the food came from food drives at the churches. Well, by government edict, the churches were closed. Or in some cases, the churches, wanted to do that. Right.
So all of a sudden it's kind of like, uh-oh, yeah, what do we do? But we had some of the neighborhoods, some of the gated communities said, well, we'll put on a food drive, and that it's really been an amazing time of adjustment, for lack of a better term, where you've had to figure things out. You just couldn't do it as you've always done it.
People are able to get creative and
Right.
find a new solution to the problem, and it's neat.
And I think a lot of
come together. Now, Bill, have you given out CARES money too? Did you get any CARES money and hand that out to some of the people as well, or?
We actually, well, we get some community foundation grant dollars.
Okay.
And we got as the employer, we got one of the COVID assistance, whatever it's called. Sorry, that's not my bailiwick. When you have employees and you apply.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, okay. Yeah, it'll come to me once I get off the air. But in terms of one of the the CARES program was we could apply to get reimbursed for money that we spent that we didn't have budgeted. And we all kind of went, huh? Wait a minute. So
which part of this was the surprise? And
and the bottom line is we kept the program going. The fundraising was excellent. So the bottom line was we never really had to outspend our money. I clarified it a couple of times, and I'm like, we didn't go over what we were supposed to spend, so we didn't qualify for that. But like I said, we've had the foundations have stepped up. We had a long history of people saying no to us, but I discovered why. One is they thought we were either government funded or Catholic Church funded. Mm-hmm. So we went to the bottom of the list. But I think delivering the right message, and they weren't aware of how many folks were serving Meals on Wheels. We did 7,500 families last year in financial utility, rent assistance, and that kind of thing. And I don't think anybody had any clue. I did a quick number. We impacted the employees of, if you extrapolate the numbers I have over 2 months, probably close to 1,000 different employers. So you talk about resorts in Collier, you talk about landscapers, you talk about hotels, and the list goes on and on and on. And to have impacted or helped the employees of all those companies in 1 year, we're getting the eyebrows going up saying, wait a minute.
There's more to this than what you know. Exactly.
Right. And that took, going back to what Marie was talking about volunteers, I did some quick numbers. I mean, we had 600 active, volunteers between Meals on Wheels and the financial assistance program. So, and there's only 16 on staff. So, bottom line is we are volunteer driven, and it's without that time, effort, commitment over the year after year after year. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Yep. Yeah, that's part of the story I like to tell is, I mean, you think about people, what does it take on the healthcare system, or what pressure does it take off that you're keeping people in their own houses, eating healthy food, and I don't have the metrics for it. Maybe the National Meals on Wheels has better stats than I do, but just think about that from a perspective of 110 people or 120 or 500 people, however many people you're helping out, stay healthy and being taken care of, or if something happens to them, getting to them a little bit quicker, that somebody can take care of them and recover faster. And it just makes an impact on the county and funds all the way up the chain. So,
and we'll get references, referrals, from Collier County. I mean, their state money only goes so far, and we're there to kind of, yes, we'll take them. And one of the other things was interesting during COVID was we had a lot of groups saying, give us money, buy food for people. And that's great. But my message was always, we're serving the folks who are so frail they can't cook. So you can give these folks tons and tons of canned foods. But if you're not able, it ain't going to help. It'll sit on the shelf. It's an effort just to be able to walk and get out of a trailer, and some of them you can tell should not be attempting to come out of the trailer to meet us. They should just stay there.
That's their one trip for the day, is make sure you got your walker with you and hang out good. Yeah.
And so that I heard a lot of that in terms, well, I help charity A or charity B, buy food. And I'm like, but we're getting referrals from the senior centers who the senior gets to the point where they're immobile and they can't get to the senior center for food. So I think that's one of the big messages that I want to get out there, is that not this, we don't fit into that, we're just giving food away. Yeah. We're really dealing with the folks who are home.
This is prepared food that people can heat up themselves and continue to take care of themselves. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I know that's one of the reasons my mom can stay in her own home. And that's one of the things that they are the health industry is trying to do, is it's better that you stay in your own home if they can keep you there than to actually put you into assisted living or into a nursing home per se. And I'm really, really glad to see that is one of the things that you really kind of focus on too, because it gives that person that, you've lived in your home your whole life, your adult life, and some even their other whole life. And nobody wants to move out of something you're familiar with if you have to. I want to die in my own home. I don't want to go to a nursing home. I don't want to go to assisted living. And that's one of the things that I want to do. My host for the next hour is down in the queue, and I had actually texted him. That's why I went off air, because I wanted to bring him up, because he's one of the people that live here, right up here in Northport, and he's a voice that a lot of people hear with PSAs, and I'm sure he has some words of wisdom. And I'm bringing you up right now, Rick.
There he is. He has his wise glasses on, so it must be.
Yeah, Rick, can you hear us? Can we hear you? Yeah, he's looking at his thing, trying to figure it out. He's actually here at the radio station. If people send him PSAs, and that's, if you're a nonprofit out there, you should say no. Send it to Rick J at kdwradio.com, and he's the voice that'll put it up for you. Right, Rick? Can we hear you, Rick? I don't know what his problem is, because his mouth is moving. Yeah.
There's a mixer button somewhere.
Yeah.
He needs a hat.
Well, I'm sure he has one. In fact, I don't know. He has gray hair and a gray beard right now. And I don't know if I'm having issues with him. I'm going to kick him out of the studio right now.
Now he's frozen.
Yeah, I'm going to actually kick him out. He's supposed to be hosting the next hour, and I wanted to make sure his stuff normally works, but technology today, you don't know what's going on. Let's talk about you guys. How would I get a hold of you?
Well, if you want to give, you go to northportmealsonwheels.org, and you can donate. You got the donate button right at the top, and you've also got our phone number, which we have a new phone number, by the way, so I'll give that to you. It's 941-876-9191. It's at the top of the webpage too. So I just updated it yesterday.
I'll bring up your web page here. And how about you, Bill?
As you can see from my name tag, SVdP Naples, all one word, .org, / / one of those slashes anyways, donate. And that'll go directly to our donation page. And there's a little donate button. You just hit it. Our phone number is 239-775-2907. And you'll get a whole bunch of prompts that you can follow through. And if you want to donate, hit the right numbers, and you'll actually come to me.
And which is a great thing to be able to do. And if anybody is interested in all that information, you can go to Giving Tuesday SWFL, click on photos, and you will be able to search in Giving Tuesday SWFL December 1st, 2020 in the photos, in the photo album, and just find their logo, click on it, and it has all their information there.
Yeah.
So
Hey, before we sign off, I do want to thank you, Marie, and everybody at the station. I know I speak for Scott as well. This is fantastic. We really appreciate the exposure, the opportunity.
Absolutely.
To talk to the whole Southwest Florida about what we do. This is a lot easier than going door to door like I've been doing.
yeah, and if you had somebody that wasn't teching and hosting at the same time, she may like to go live, and say that's the one thing. They only give you a 10-minute leeway, and I didn't hit it fast enough. YouTube let me go live when I saw that. And I'm going to try to bring up Rick again while you guys are here, because I do have another guest. Rick, hi. Rick, can you hear us? Yeah, we can't hear you. You're muted on your end. Get your mic working, because you're hosting next hour.
It won't be as good without.
It's the quiet hour here.
Yeah, it's a quiet hour. When he asks a guest, they won't hear it, but that's okay. We'll move on with that.
Get your whiteboard ready and hold up your questions.
Yeah, and that's why I do tests with everybody with tech. And Scott, I've done you before, but I've actually done Rick before too. I've had Rick on the brought him into the stream and that to host with doing some of the stuff before, but we didn't do a test right now. And even with other people, I always have a problem with a couple of them. And enough about me. And I'm sure the radio audience doesn't want to hear all this stuff. Get over it, Marie. Just move on. So again, thank you guys for all the Meals on Wheels things that you do. And the thing about Giving Tuesday right now, I just want to, with you too here, it's about giving back to your community in any way that you can, to give to the neighbor, to just be kind. That's all you have to do. Just
Absolutely.
be kind out in the world, because we need kindness. And if you do volunteer, thank you, because that is one way that you can give back. Volunteers are priceless in our world. Also, for Giving Tuesday, it's a generosity movement. It's not about the fundraising. It's not about that. Nonprofits do it a lot of times for a kickoff to the end of year giving. Facebook, social media of different sorts, Instagram, you can actually donate on also, and PayPal. With the radio station, we are registered now for PayPal for nonprofits, and it's a lower rate for us for any kind of interest rate there. Facebook is free.
Facebook is free, yeah.
Yeah, Facebook is free. Facebook doesn't charge any fees there. It's a way for them to evenly give back to any nonprofit out there. And we're very grateful they have matching money with Facebook today. It's actually a 10% match right now going on. So, anyway, any dollar amount is appreciated. But if you're not able to give like that, help a neighbor. Go give the neighbor some food or something, or just a conversation looking over. You go like this and you look over the fence and you
knock on the door and say hi.
And just say hi. And just say hi, and just, especially if somebody's lonely and they don't have anybody there, to go ahead and do that. Let's try Rick again. Rick, are you live there? Can we hear you? No, you're muted.
Nope.
Rick, we can't hear you. Back out. I'm going to kick you out of the studio and come back in. Man, I'll tell you, technology is great when it works, but
great when it works.
I hope he's not fooling with us going.
Well, he has been known to do that. He has a very quirky personality. And actually, I shouldn't say quirky personality. He's a lovely, lovely man. I've known that guy for almost 30 years. And that's enough about me again. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Well, thank you guys.
That's for the next hour.
Scott and Bill, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I'm going to be taking a little station break here and bringing up our next guest. And let's hope to heck Rick Johnstone tech works so I can take a little break here. So thank you so much, and see
Thanks,
you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks a lot, Marie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. Thank you all for hanging in there and listening with me. And I'm going to start getting punchy because I've been on the air since 10 a.m. Today, you're listening to us for Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida. Here at the radio station, we are the center for Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida, and I'm the chair in the area. And I really like to say to everybody, thank you. Thank you for coming on with us today. I'm really grateful for the things that many of you have done out in your communities. Also, I'm also grateful for the things that our volunteers at the radio station has done. For the Giving Tuesday International, they put together all this day worldwide, this generosity movement. And just so everybody understands, it is a generosity movement. You're listening to WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio. I apologize to you that our KDW radio and Giving Tuesday live feed are not going on Facebook right now. It is a glitch on Marie's part because I was checking and hosting at the same time, and I didn't hit the go live, but we are live on YouTube, WKDW 97.5 FM live right now. So you can actually, if you want to watch us on live, you can go to YouTube to WKDW 97.5. And if you want to listen to us on Alexa, play WKDW 97.5, and she will play our radio station. So let's hope our new host. Hello, Rick. Are you just messing with me?
Yes, I am. I think so.
Yeah, it was with your headset. I think that there was something happening.
See,
We couldn't hear.
But I'm getting echoes from you. I'm not getting your voices.
Okay, well, I might be able to correct that. So maybe not. Yeah, I can add. Okay, you're getting an echo. Is that better? Oh, I know what, Rick.
No.
Okay, I know
freezing.
what. I'm freezing.
I'm on Wi-Fi also. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I don't have a way to plug in.
Oh, well, it might be you, but you're coming through okay for me now. So I want to bring on the guest. Can you hear me okay? And I'll go off here and I'll just manage in the background. I think it might be me, Rick, that's echoing. Is that better? Off?
You're frozen. I don't see anything. I see your face, but you're frozen. If you can hear me.
I can hear you. It's on your end. It's not on ours. So if you can pop in there when needed, and then I want to bring up our guest for this next hour. And let me bring in, I'm looking here, we'll bring in Mark and Kristen, and they are from Marvelous Ways International. Hello.
Marie, how are you?
Good. And the person that's supposed to be the show host right now is freezing up. So I'm taking him off air and kicking him out of the studio. And then we have, let me see, I have to read my notes here, is I have the Florida International Film Festival. And that is, okay, that's Jen Smith, right? Hi,
Hey.
Jen. Hey.
Florida Environmental Film Festival.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long day for me.
That's okay. So I understand.
So I'm sorry. And then I also have Back to the Beat, Chico. Hi, Chico.
Hi.
So you're doing good, and you're doing good, and your guys are all doing very well. So we're going to start right away. Thank you for one thing, for participating in Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida and Giving Tuesday from around the world. And just so everybody realizes, Giving Tuesday is a movement, and it's whatever you decide that you want it to be. Many nonprofits are doing fundraising, but also many nonprofits are doing shout outs of thank you. Many of you are taking us on tour. I think, and Jen, you're on vacation someplace, right?
I am. I'm on just on the East Coast,
Yeah.
but that's okay. It was super important for me to just stop and be here. So
Right. And Mark and Christian, we're going to actually be showing everybody some video. So I have to cue that up. That's why I was hoping my other host would get back in here and be able to do this so I can do some teching. Now, before we get started, and we have Chico here. Chico, I would like you to tell everybody what is Back to the Beat, and also how that came to be. And I'll be getting to each one of you separately on that end.
Okay, well, I started Back to the Beat about 2 years ago. It was the result of my experiences as a cancer patient. I was very lucky, but I had to go through major surgery. And some of you may know that that experience is it's not fun. And you spend a lot of time in the hospital sort of feeling very disconnected from yourself. And I think that's what long-term illness is all about. I also happen to be a musician. I'm a professional musician here in Florida. And I think ever since I was little, I always felt like there must be something more than playing, something more that music can do for people. And so at some point I ran across, I think he had just published it, Musicophilia by author and neurologist Oliver Sacks. And it was a testament to that idea that there was more to music, how it affects us emotionally and physically. And he was sort of beginning to puzzle out what it could do. So it was my mission at that point to find out more. And I took a trip down to Moffitt Cancer Institute, and I saw the most magnificent thing happening there. That was my inspiration. They have a fully dedicated medicine and arts and medicine program there. And I wanted to be able to provide that to patients. And our situation here in Sarasota is while they're building a dedicated cancer center with the Sarasota Memorial Hospital, a lot of the patients and the people undergoing treatment, it's very scattered. Not scattered in the sense that it's not good. It's just that if you need to get radiology, you need to go over here. If you need to get chemo, you need to go over there. If you need blood transfusion, you need to go over there. I just saw that there was a great future in being able to provide patients with therapeutic music, which is all designed to, help patients relax and refocus on healing. And taking my experiences with seeing the work that was being done at Moffitt, I wanted to provide something that was akin to that, but was more mobile, since there wasn't a concentrated center for cancer patients. And so a friend of mine who's an art therapist, we got together and put together something called Music and Art Destinations. And I wanted the name Destinations to go in there so that we could go to where the patients were. And from there, it sort of gradually morphed into Back to the Beat. I could see that what we were doing was of great benefit, not only to the patients, but for the staff and for the family. And anybody dealing with stresses, everyday stresses, but don't necessarily know how to put it into words. So in just before the pandemic, we decided we were going to try and offer this to EMS workers and frontline workers and nurses. And of course, the pandemic hit, and that sort of everything stopped, and I had to figure out how are we going to do this. So the silver lining in the COVID crisis was that it gave me the time and a framework to sort of reimagine what Back to the Beat was going to be. And clearly, what our focus needed to be is that we have now all become sort of not, we're all dealing with a kind of stress that we've never known before. And our job right now is to be able to reach out to these people. I've been hearing a lot today from other people speaking today about, I think, Marie, it's your card, be kind. It's also that sense of that we need to check in with people and just say, how are you doing? Are you okay? And that really has, at least for this Giving Tuesday, that's for me and for my organization, that's what this is about, to be able to check in and say, are you okay? And provide them with some music and art to try and chronicle what they're doing. And currently, we're doing a journaling project with the Multicultural Health Institute in Sarasota, which is just an incredible organization. While we were there initially to work with some of their clients, I could quickly see that we were really there for the other volunteers because they are working so hard. And the amount of work that they are doing, the amount of stress and pressure that they are under, it's I can't even think about it. I mean, they inspire me, and this was something that I felt I really wanted to do for them. So,
well, while you're talking about that, and you're right, I have been putting a lot of focus on today. I want to know, because all of the people that are on today are givers, and they actually give of their time. And is anybody checking in on you? How is your mental health? Because you're always helping everybody else. And that's what, and that's what some of us do. We help other people. But you know what? We have to pause and take a look at, even our inner selves and say, you know what? I got to take time for me. I have to look at me. Am I okay? And I'm finding out that I'm not okay all the time. I'm always an upbeat, positive person, but right now, like I had a glitch today. I could sit down and cry because uh, it was my fault, but I'm looking at it, and you know what? You got to let it roll off and go, because I was trying to maneuver too many things, and forgot to hit the button go live, and that made a huge hiccup. And then Facebook doesn't let you correct that, but YouTube did. So we're live on YouTube right now. But when I'm talking about that, checking in on people, and I know that we have some other guests here that will be talking about some of the things and the good work that they do out there. And I know with Jen Smith, she checks in on the environment. They're an environmental film festival, and we have to take care of Mother Earth. We really do. And, not just only ourselves, but, our environment too is one of those things. And Jen, I'm muting you because you are outside and I can hear noise and that. So I am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's
I was
okay.
trying to find a quiet spot. I hopped on. I'm traveling, and I pulled over on the side of the road to try to find somebody's Wi-Fi that I could use. But unfortunately, it's not very quiet. I'm tucked away in the quietest corner of this place that I can get.
You're
so
good.
Is that I can go outside though? Is it too loud? Is it too much
No, I
background
think you're
noise?
okay. I think you're okay. And I think we might have
Okay.
Rick back in. Hi, Rick.
Hi.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Rick. Rick is back. Because Rick, and that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of glitches going on right now. Rick, why don't you talk a little bit, because I want to make sure your mic is fine now.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine now, and you're not.
For the moment.
For the moment. Well, and you have the list of the people on. I'm going to go off air, and he's actually going to be your host for this hour.
I left my notes in the other room. Keep talking. Talk amongst
Okay,
yourself.
I'll talk about myself.
Okay.
That's our Rick. And in case you ever need to send a PSA, here he goes running. If you ever need to do a PSA.
Where's he running to?
Well, he's running right there. Hey, Rick, RJ's right here for you.
Hi. My mentor.
You're all working.
Yeah. And he's been having computer issues, so I really need to take a break right now. I've been on.
Okay, so he's going to run it from here?
Well, he can't run this part, but I can run him. You know, I was a control freak, right?
You don't have a bucket right there?
No.
I'm leaving.
He's right. I haven't taken a break today. So, Rick.
Yes.
I'm going to put the people up on the screen like this, and you can go ahead and interview while I take a little break, and then I'll come back and manage everybody.
Okay. We need management. Thank you. I wanted to start with Marvelous Ways, and that would be you, Mark and Kristen, correct?
Yes. Hi, Rick.
What an organization you guys have. I was impressed when I went to the line. I can imagine the logistics of your operation is amazing.
We certainly hope so. We're an emerging organization. Actually, we just officially launched in October of this year. So I've been doing international. We've been doing international community development for almost 15 years now. But we finally opened and launched Marvelous Ways, our organization from our vision, here in October.
That's awesome. Going over what you've been doing prior to this is, you seek out issues that people need help with, and you come up with solutions. You fundraise to get it done. You put people in there to facilitate the changes. I mean, this is awesome. What kind of cooperation do you get from the country, city, village?
Yeah.
It's got to be a village. It takes a village, right?
It absolutely does, Rick. And I thank you for kind of framing it for us. That's exactly what we do. So we don't necessarily come up with the ideas. I guess to some degree we do, but we work with partners in an international context, mostly developing nations, some developed nations that have pockets of challenges. And we work with people, leaders, government leaders, faith community leaders, leaders in business, who either have this huge heart for a complex problem that's going on in their community. A problem like child homelessness, youth addiction problems, mental health crises, teen pregnancy, really kind of problems that are societal issues that are complex by nature. And we partner with these leaders in these organizations, and very often they have a big heart. They want to do something about it. They often are overwhelmed with the responsibilities they already have, right? If you're a leader in the developing nation and you can keep the lights on and the water on and police on the street, then you're really doing very well, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that they don't care that there are thousands or kids on the street or addicted or in gangs or the violence. They care deeply. Very often they need somebody else from different perspective to look and to work with them and with their community and their community leaders to build a coalition, to put together experts to study the issue, figure out what other people are doing around the globe. There are people who are doing parts and pieces and things that are effective. Find out what those things are. And then what we do is after we build that coalition, we design a pilot program that's measurable that we can do in small part. We fundraise for it, and we'll develop a program, and it will be serviced by the local community, right? So local church community, local whatever that community may be, wherever in the world, depends on the social structure culturally. And then we put measurements in place and we measure it. We measure, and if these programs work or work in part, then we'll help and bring that to scale by bringing project managers in. If they don't work, then we go back to the design,
Right, back to the drawing board.
That's right. In a lot of ways, we don't think of ourselves as a non-for-profit. We think of ourselves as an innovation company that our clients happen to be some of the poorest children and young people in the world that they need help. Our financial model is donations of generous people. But really, we're looking for fresh, creative, and innovative solutions to systemic social problems in the developing world.
How many countries have you put feet in?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Many. Substantially that I've actually done real good substantial work in. Africa, in Kenya, East Africa, and then our work has kind of reached into Uganda and Tanzania. But then I've done some work in India, Honduras, a lot of work in Haiti, and then I've supported a lot of people who've done great work really all over the world in Eastern Europe. So we have a real passion and a heart to serve communities in every part of the globe. Refugee communities in Southeast Asia. Maybe Kristen can talk about our first project if you want to hear about that, Rick. Are you with us still?
Uh-oh.
I think Rick's frozen, but we.
I'm starting to lose everybody, I think.
That's all right. So
Okay.
Mark and I just, when he mentioned that we did launch in October, we have been doing this work for a number of years. And so we, in the middle of a pandemic, decided to launch this organization, move our 3 kids from New York to Florida.
Right.
So it's been a lot of change, but exciting. And in the midst of that, when we would normally, the method in which we would scout out a project, that kind of fell to the wayside with COVID, right? So normally we'd go in country, meet with these partners, and now, like everyone else in the world, we're doing Zoom calls. And so we got an opportunity to meet this great organization called Lifting Hands in San Jose, Costa Rica. And they are an existing nonprofit there that is really helping a community that's very impoverished and in dire straits. The community that they serve is called El Bajo de los Enonos. And this community has children that live under the bridge on the outskirts of their capital. The government has deemed their village uninhabitable, and these people live there, and they've lived there for a number of years. So there's no schools in this community. There's no trash pickup. There's no grocery store. These children have to walk outside of their community for everything that they could possibly need. And so this organization has really done a phenomenal job with the elementary school age kids in this community to provide after school programming for them, to help them build a future that is outside of the poverty in which they know. But they don't have anything for their teens. And so this was the burden on their heart, and something that works perfectly for the type of work that we do. So we'll be partnering with them, providing some teen solutions, helping them find personal vision, employment skills. There's opportunities within San Jose that are just tremendous. San Jose is a really interesting hub in Central America because it's a very safe country. And a lot of even US-based organizations like Microsoft and others have their headquarters in Central America right there in San Jose. So there's great opportunity for these kids to really come out of the situations that they're in. So we're really excited to partner with Lifting Hands to do this.
That's great. How can people get in touch with you guys if they want to volunteer, if they want to donate? I mean,
Yes, we need all
gotta have a website, right? You need all of that, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So first, our website is www.marvelouswaysint.org. And so you can check out our video and our backstory and our first project there if you want to check it out. And there's also places to sign up to learn more, to volunteer. We have 3 different areas that we employ volunteers for. Somebody who's knocking at our door, some children that want to play with my children are knocking at the door.
You gotta love Zoom, right?
Yeah, we do. Anybody who wants to give and donate, that can be done at our website as well, which is fantastic. Also, follow us and like us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We would love to connect with you. So we have spots for really innovative problem solvers, professionals who really are great at problem solving. They want to be part of our research and development teams, and that can be done remotely. We also have volunteer opportunities for project managers. These are people who will empower a local community to set up these programs in a measurable way, right? In these pilot programs. And third, and I think this is going to be really interesting to maybe talk about and to connect with Jen, I believe, and our other guest, I'm sorry. And that's really of storytellers. So it's important to not just solve issues, but you also have to tell the story of the young people that are affected, to bring awareness to the challenge, but also to tell the story of the solution, right? Very often we don't get a chance to hear of the triumph. And
The successes. Yeah.
And there are storytellers who are artists, right? They're digital artists or they're excuse me, fine artists. And they do art shows or concerts or they photography, and they tell the story of kind of the life of
I'm losing your audio.
Of the heroes who work day in and day out on their behalf and the solution. So it's great. We certainly need volunteers.
RJ, if you're there and you can hear me, I lost their audio.
No, yeah,
and Chico is frozen. Everybody's frozen except me.
Well, you're not frozen, Rick. You're the one that's having the issue and stuff. So go ahead. We can still hear you, Rick, if you can hear us in that. And I know that I have a video. You know what, I'm taking him off the thing there, and we'll bring him back up and see if he can get it corrected. I know. With the I have okay, let's see. Are you okay there? Can you hear us?
I don't know. Am I?
And we will. He's
Rick, we can hear you just fine if that helps.
Yeah, Rick, we can hear you just fine. It's just that you're freezing. You're not freezing for us. It's on your end. Okay, and okay. Yeah, are we okay for you now?
I think so. Yeah, everybody is moving. I saw Kristen blink her eyes. Okay, that's a good sign.
Well, and I'm popping up here because they wanted to show a video, and I think I have it queued for them correctly.
Okay.
Okay, so just keep on talking. I'm going to go off, maybe. I can't take myself off until we do this. But go ahead and keep on talking, guys.
This is Mark and Kristen's video?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. You may want to narrate, Mark.
Well, it's actually
solution to it.
Okay.
In my life, and I presume in yours, we have witnessed both marvelous.
Yeah, there's.
I have gazed upon sights that provoke wonder and joy and imagination. And I have looked at realities so disturbing. It causes us to recoil with shout. I have seen marbles seemingly spring from the ground, made of steel and glass that touch the sky, or images sent back from astronauts orbiting the Earth, and like you, I've seen photos of thousands of children waiting at a border, pleading for safety, security, and hope, praying for benevolent people to intervene and interrupt the terror that is their lives. Indeed, I have seen both marvelous and terrible ways, and I have come to believe that every human, by virtue of creation, is deserving of dignity, hope, and a future, regardless of prejudice, precondition, or qualification. And then given enough faith, enough courage, enough compassion, creativity, and resolve, that dignity and that hope can be restored to any place in the earth. Over the last 13 plus years, I've seen schools, hospitals, and churches established in the regions of the globe known for brutality and despair. I have seen terrible turn into marvelous, and I am convinced that unity of heart and vision is unstoppable. And it is in this that we began Marvelous Ways International. Marvelous Ways International is a global NGO that delivers intellectual capital, strategic leadership, and startup resources to projects that change the lives of young people and in vulnerable communities. And as a team, we search the globe, looking for leaders in developing nations with enough faith, enough compassion, and the audacity to challenge the complex and entrenched issues facing the young people of their cities and their nations. We then return to our communities of influence and ask innovative and skilled problem solvers to give their talents sacrificially. We ask project managers to design and build measurable pilot programs in the cities where these young people live. And lastly, we implore all of you who are watching to allow your compassion to be expressed in generosity. Give so that what is terrible can be transformed into marvelous. Young people and their families and around the globe await. Join us. Marvelous Ways International.
Very nice. Very nice. That's it all. The kids are great. Cute kids. Kids are always cute, no matter where they are.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's a great organization, and everybody out there, reach out. Volunteer, give them $1. It all helps, right?
We
Yes.
very much appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's get back to the beat. Okay. Interesting. I had not heard of your organization, and I looked you up. But it's quite what you guys do is interesting also. And apparently you use music to provide therapy to those that need it, and provide less stress in stressful situations. That's the way I understood your primary goal. You talk
Yes.
to me, Chico.
Okay. I rambled in the first 10 minutes of this, but essentially, I always tell people tell the patients that I play for, falling asleep during a session with me is the best compliment you can give me, because really you're inundated with just so many things in the hospital, and being able to walk into a room and tell a patient, telling them that I'm there for them. I'm not there to take anything, as opposed to every time a nursing assistant comes in, they're there to draw blood or make you do something you don't want to do. So I tell them, you have the choice. Tell me to leave. If that makes you feel better, I've done my job. So, but unfortunately, with the COVID, my access to patients has become not possible. It's too much risk for the patient and the people working there. So I have been taking this time to look at how I can provide these type of services virtually, and in situations where it can be sort of hybrid. I know there's a lot of teachers out there that have been struggling with the whole hybrid, that you're dealing with students that are in person, and then students that are online, and it's a tremendous amount of work. And it's really stressful, but it is so worth it, because I believe that the potential to reach more people is just that much more possible, because you're not constrained to a specific place. So I'm able to collaborate. I lost a lot of musicians when they moved away, because they didn't have work anymore. But now we're able to try and figure out how we can perform together and to be able to play for people that are, say, in skilled nursing. They can't see their family, but we can send them a message. We can send them that, we hear you, here's some music, make a request. What would you like to hear? Or even for family members saying, my dad loved this piece. Would you please,
So, and you
send
would
it to him.
perform that and send it via video? Is that what you're doing at this point?
At this point, I'm actually doing art and music destination here in Sarasota with the Multicultural Health Institute. But certainly for when I was trying to experiment this, I was sending messages to my mom who was in skilled nursing. And unfortunately, she passed away from COVID.
I'm sorry.
But it was therapy just as much for me to be able to send recordings to her, little tape messages, to let her know that, I'm still here and I'm still thinking of you. And the nurses appreciated it too, because it was a total break from what they were used to dealing with, that they would sit down with her and listen. So it was, that in itself was sort of a gift for me as well as for her.
Do you have in your group at this point?
Currently, I'm real mom and pop. It's me.
Okay, and you're doing a fine job.
I'm sorry?
And you're doing a fine job.
Oh, thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
No, and I have a lot of volunteer musician colleagues that I pull in from time to time.
Of course, the news is that the vaccines are coming out soon, so hopefully these essential workers will be able to partake of the vaccine. You'll be able to get back into the wellness centers, the hospitals and whatnot soon. Because I think the music, anytime you go into a mall and there's someone playing the piano there, people stop and it gives you a good feeling. So I can see where what you're doing can be so beneficial to people who are already under a lot of duress.
Yes. As I was saying or rambling earlier on, back in February, I had big plans for Memorial Day. I wanted to do a big benefit concert for EMS workers. And the minute I started planning, boom.
Right.
We're in lockdown. So
if someone were interested in, I'm sure there's a lot of musicians out there. I hack at a guitar myself, but I haven't been playing as long as you have. I know you started playing cello at the age of 6. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But if anyone's out there would like to hook up with you guys and help with your mission, how would they get a hold of you?
They can get, my email is chico@backtothebeat.org. My website, as you mentioned, has a lot of information in terms of some of the projects we're doing right now. I'm looking.
There you are.
Or I can put this up. Marie's been holding up that sign. The website is, there you go, backtothebeat.org.
Backtothebeat.org. Okay. Yeah.
And so, as I mentioned, the Giving Tuesday campaign really is about helping us invest in the technology to make this possible. March happened and we all thought our iPhones would be enough. It wasn't, our web cams would be enough. It's not, especially when you're doing music, you need better equipment and better cameras. And it's just,
absolutely.
It needs to fit in my car, but that's the limit.
Or you need to get a van.
No, not right now. It's got to fit in my car. Small budget.
Right. Well, good luck. Our fingers are crossed that we get out of this pandemic as soon so you can get back to doing what you do best. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Florida Environmental Film Festival. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. When is the festival? Is it one day only?
Well, it was at the beginning of this year. and it was over a few days, about 3 or 4 days. And unfortunately, we also had to pivot, and we had to cancel that. Part of it was inside, part of it was outside, but everybody just felt it to be safer, just to cancel it. And we had a lot of filming. One was traveling from Africa, and a lot were traveling from the West Coast, from California and Oregon, and no one felt comfortable flying. So we canceled it, and now we are doing monthly film festivals online.
Oh.
And because we didn't want to just not do anything this year, so we do have monthly short films that are online right now. And so far, there's some pretty good participation. We've got a lot of water testing, a lot of cleanups, intercoastal waterways, the beach cleanups, obviously, lakes, rivers, estuaries, streams, you name it. If people want to volunteer to test water and clean, we have a position for you, without a doubt.
I saw on your page that you had several categories. You had feature films, short films, and I forget the third one. What was shorts? Uh-oh. Hello?
We have, I don't know what the third one is either, to be honest. I can't remember. We have a lot of, they're all independent films, and
right.
There are a lot that have been able to view outside of the film festival. All of them promote discussions, all of them promote debates, and a lot of them, do cause and effect and solution. There's not really independent films that don't offer solutions, which is one of the, it was, whenever we were putting together the films for the film festival, it was one of the most important things that we all collectively agreed on.
I'm losing her, Marie.
Is that we couldn't offer
on my end, of course.
It's on your end, Rick.
Okay.
I'll take you down a sec, Rick, and we'll bring you back up. And I don't want to be the one right here. So sorry about that. Okay, let us do this with you. Go ahead. I'm just going to bring up your website, even for
okay.
us. No.
One of the collective agreements was that we had to offer films that offered solutions. The independent films that we were showing and are showing online now offer solutions to all of these different environmental catastrophes that are going on. There we are.
Students was the third.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Students was the third. Students was the third category. So I guess that'd be like college students and whatnot, not necessarily professional filmmakers.
A lot of them were, we have Ringling that is right in our backyard in Sarasota.
Yeah.
So yes, we've got student filmmakers. We've got educational seminars, educational films. That one, there's testing, which is a really awesome thing that we're doing. These are all of the these are all the different projects that we're doing right now. One of the most intricate is the watershed, the testing. Do you see that on there? That is where it's through the University of Florida. Yes. And just, with all of the red tide.
Okay.
And, I guess I say that quote unquote, that's super important to the Florida waterways because there is so much pollution and there is so much controversy about where all of that pollution is streaming from. And, it depends on who you talk to, from what organization, and who's funding that organization. And it really, that contributes to the answer that you get. So the independent water testing is so important because it gives authorities on coming from a grassroots, some really great data. And then the University of Florida processes that data and is able to enter it into the state of Florida, you know, and it's really powerful, and we constantly need volunteers to do that, just as much as we need volunteers. And we go on field trips. That's another really fun thing, that you can go through some of the swamps of Florida and some of the old preserves and have guided tours with, you know, with people, and people can get educated. You know, this leads to this, and that leads to this, and this stream leads to this river, and this river leads to this estuary, and this estuary leads to this ocean. And, you know, we can really tie it all in together.
The hip bone is connected to the leg bone, right?
That's right. But we are ready. We're still planning for our film festival, and you know, we are anticipating doing it outside for 2021. But again, you know, we, like everybody, right? We took a hit financially, and you know, like all of these wonderful grassroots organizations have. So, you know, this is such a thank you too for both of you, by the way, for hosting us here and giving us an opportunity as many people as possible.
Yeah. Well, there is no free lunch, unfortunately.
That is true.
So yeah, we need to do this, because what you do is important. What all you guys do is important. Is the only time that we can see these films is during the festival, or is there access to see the films at my leisure?
There is access. Yes, there is access right now. We have a monthly film festival. We have an active reel of these different films online. There was a little hiccup that Elizabeth, who is the founder of the film festival, she's working on. It's like a subscription. You go in and you register and you subscribe to the film festival, and you're able to view these independent films monthly, and every month they're changing.
Cool. Where do these people go? They make these films. Where do they go from here? I mean, obviously the idea is to educate people about what's going on. Where do they go from here? You have awards and those kind of things, but beyond that, where do these filmmakers go with their films?
Well, it's you know, constantly doing the work. A lot of these filmmakers are environmentalists. You know, they are, I'm trying to get this thing of sun out of my face. They're active environmentalists. They're doing the work. They're doing the testing. They're constantly
kick me out, Marie, on me again.
Did I lose you?
He told me to kick him out, and I'm eating. I have food in my mouth. But go ahead and keep on talking. Oh, I lost her too now.
Top two.
Yeah.
Maybe I can smack it.
Hey, Rick, you're back on. And he took himself off. Okay. The beauty. I am so sorry, everybody. Actually, I'll bring all of us like this. As we're talking and as we're going along, with Giving Tuesday right now, what are the needs that you really have out there? And Chico, I know that you were mentioning, you know, the needs that you have, but with Giving Tuesday and giving back, and you actually have what Giving Tuesday is about, is actually reaching out to those people, and Mark and Kristen too. Yeah. The work that all of you are doing is so vital into so many lives, and one person can make a difference of what they do. As you notice, I changed my hat again. I'm a hat person. If you've been watching this today, every hour I change my hat. And let's hope Rick is here. Rick, are you back?
I feel like it.
Okay.
Oh, what happened to Jenna? She gone, huh? Okay, well, that was interesting stuff. So we have a little time left. Anything that you guys want to? Maybe you have Chico. You have something you want to ask Mark and Kristen, or?
No, I mean, it's just amazing the work that you're doing. It's one of the things that I love about these roundtables is the constant inspiration that I get from people that are giving their time to do this. It's just, that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps me It keeps me at it and not to give up when things get hairy. So, yeah.
Practicing those scales every day, right?
Yeah.
Well, here at the radio station too, and Giving Tuesday, with us being the center here, we've pivoted here. If you notice, Rick is at home struggling with the internet. I'm at the radio station. I haven't been in here since May. I came in today for all of you guys so we could actually stream live and actually be on air live. Giving Tuesday, for anybody, do you have any special projects that all of you are focused on right now? What are your needs? Chico, do you need volunteers? Mark and Kristen, do you need volunteers? Here at the radio station, do we need volunteers, Rick?
Yes.
Well,
we love the volunteers.
Yeah, address that. And, all of you can chime in here and tell the audience where your needs are. And also, how are you guys doing mentally? Because this has been a real strain on everybody. And I know that on my other segments that I had hosted, thank you, Rick, for coming in and hosting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Rick.
Mark and Kristen, do you do any work here in the United States? I mean, like, the hills of West Virginia or...
No, we vacation in the hills of West Virginia, and my aunt has a place there.
Okay.
So we have project criteria. As a lot of organizations, you really have to have criteria, otherwise you get into what they call mission creep, which is you try to do everything and you don't do anything well. And so no, we really focus on the international context, and the reason being is we recognize that young people in the U.S. and the West and more developed nations face issues of gang violence and drug abuse and teen pregnancy. All those things exist. They're just exacerbated in the developing world, right? They seem almost insurmountable there. It's also where our experience is and our passion is, and so no, we only work in outside of the States.
Yeah, I spent 18 months in Thailand, in the south of Thailand, and I know what you're talking about because I've seen similar situations. This was in 67 and 68, but the situation was bad then, and it still is something that needs to be addressed. So y'all are doing great work. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And I think just with COVID, we're seeing how much of an impact it is just in our own country. And to think what the kids in developing nations are going through, I think the UN put out a study, UNICEF, other organizations, and they're just talking about, famines and the lack of need that is they're calling it biblical proportions. I mean, I think we haven't seen yet really what this is going to do in foreign countries. So we're just more passionate now than we've ever been about going and doing this work. And the beautiful thing about some of our volunteer teams is that with COVID, you don't have to go, and really we can't travel right now anyway. So a lot of the work that we can do via remote. Everyone's in Zoom now, so there's a lot of ways that you can get involved without having to travel and risking your health. And so don't be afraid to sign up and volunteer. If you have a passion for young people and kids, and you're the person that's always the idea person, hopefully this is resonating with you, and we would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the need is more prevalent now. So
that's correct.
Okay. So Marie, come back.
I'd like to say that, Chico, we really appreciate you and what you've gone through, even more than you know. So when the idea of Marvelous Ways was birthed in our hearts, and we were writing it in notebooks and talking amongst ourselves, Kristen's mother, we found out that she had stage 4 cancer. And so we took her, we were in upstate New York, we're born and raised in central New York, and we started driving down to Sloan Kettering in New York City, which is one of the finest hospitals in the world. Really every other week, twice a month for treatment. And she moved in with us, and and all of the therapies and the things that went around it were just special and cared for her, and the nurses and the people who cared for her and loved her. It mattered so much to us, and simultaneously we're thinking about this vision, and then in our own home. And unfortunately, after 18 months, she passed, and we believe we'll see her again in heaven someday. And so, Chico, our heart goes out to you. We're so sorry that you lost your mother, but that you're still continuing to do the mission that you're called to. We really commend you for that. So thank you for all that you do.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the work you do as well. Because I think, there's always hope. And again, being able to talk and share these stories with everyone is really what keeps me going. So, yeah.
I would say this is an opportunity to give contact information one more time, and where to, how to donate to you and get that done. This would be the time to do that.
And actually, I'll bring it up for you guys on screen, because I have the opportunity to do that, and I'll tell you, I'm getting people sending me messages. So who do we want? Chico's?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do what I'll do here is go ahead and keep on talking, and I'll bring up their information on screen.
Okay, so there we were.
Hey, no dead air.
No dead air, right.
There, you see it there?
There we go. Okay. It's kind of hard to read, for me anyway.
Well, if you put your screen full, and I didn't want to do that. Can you see it better if I did that? So.
Yeah, it's a little more gooder.
Okay, and that's Rick. What's that? And go ahead, Nico and Chico, and say what your website is and all your different things. I have it up on screen right now, so people can.
Okay, actually, that's not my website, sadly.
Dun, 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 dun. She's .org, I believe.
Yes, mine is
backtothebeat.org.
Okay, well,
there you go.
Well, we will take that one down. Nothing like, you know what? It's 2020.
You're doing a fine job.
In fact, we are YouTube Live. I walk out of here because I started drinking water and coffee, and I'm on air. You guys can't hear me, but we're actually on the radio, so they can hear me if I start coughing. So I started coughing, and I walked out of the room, and they're watching in the next door room, all of you guys on YouTube Live. So just say hi to Bob and Jill in there. Say hi, Bob and Jill.
Hi, Bob.
And that's the beauty of things in today's technology, but things do happen. And you know what? It's okay.
Watch this. I'm gonna drink water live on TV.
I'll tell you what, can I screen share?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'll screen share the website.
Okay. And then as we're ending up here, we don't have our next guest yet on, but I wanted to keep on going. As soon as you bring it up, Chico, I'll stop talking, you can talk. But one of the things about Giving Tuesday is it's actually thanking people like the Rick Johnstones in this world that's hosting with you guys right now. Rick Johnstone, all of us here at the radio station are all volunteers. There's not one person here at the radio station that are, get paid anything. And Rick, I heard you got a raise.
Yeah, twice as much as I got last year.
Like zero.
Mm-hmm.
I see it there, Miko. I can add it to the stream.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
That's all right.
There you go. There you go. We can see the whole thing. I can't manage what you're. Yeah. Good. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. What am I seeing?
This was a little interview I did with my art therapist, and we're talking about the nature of giving, sort of how that it's not about money, it's really about time, and taking the time to ask people, are you okay? It was actually inspired by the editorial that Meghan Markle had posted in the New York Times about her miscarriage, but it really was about taking the time to ask people, are you okay? So, all right.
And that is part of Giving Tuesday is all those, all those things to take the time and remind people that Giving Tuesday as a movement is actually about the generosity of people from around the world, no matter what, whether you're helping a neighbor, whether you just are kind. There you go. This might be kind. Everybody has a gift to give. And like Rick, you always keep on giving gifts. And I'm actually shouting at him because Rick and I, we've known each other for 25, 30 years now. And I've always relied on Rick. I'll say, Rick, I really think bringing him into the radio station, he worked for a company and retired. And I go, I think that you have a great voice. I think you could come into the radio.
Face for radio, right? I know.
Yeah, you got a face for radio. So come on, man. And he actually came in, and he's really been such an addition to the radio station. And we've been really blessed here. But I know with you and Mark and Kristen overseas, you have to rely on a lot of volunteers over there, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Especially now.
Go ahead, Rick.
Well, especially now. I mean, I know they're working on this end, formulating plans for situations that are there, but that's where the village comes in, because you have to rely on them to implement your plans, because it never stops. You got to keep going. I would imagine.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And ultimately, we're catalysts to help communities solve their own problems, right? That way, the solution belongs to the people who were affected. And so, yeah, I appreciate Giving Tuesday. I can go back a few days to Thanksgiving, and I think that Thanksgiving and gratitude is a huge part of our life. And I think it's an incredible place to start. But I don't think we should stay there. I think our gratitude should be moved to action. And whether it's
Absolutely.
Whether it's giving of your finances, your hard-earned finances, or
Kick me out, Marie.
your time, as Rick Johnstone. What a great radio name that is, by the way, Johnstone. If that is your real name, Rick, that's a fantastic name. Or volunteering, or doing work like Chico or Jen or any of the other organizations. Move your gratitude into generosity. Move your generosity into your time, into your gifts, into your talents. And so I really appreciate Giving Tuesday. And Marie, you and Rick, and all that you do. Thank you so much for having us on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I thank you, and I thank people like you for all the work that you do. And one of the reasons I wanted to do it in this kind of format, I wanted other organizations that may never get the opportunity to meet each other, but the collaboration, because one of the things that I have found is we need to collaborate more with other organizations. And, there might be something Chico can offer. Well, I don't think she's traveling overseas for you. but there may be sometimes a tapping of other organizations that you may end up meeting that you may never have met before. And that's one of the beauties of doing a format like this. Nobody had to go anyplace. Nobody had to go, but you learned about their organization, and you also learned the person. And it's all about networking and meeting people to be able to move forward in our lives, and that, because people give to people that they know and trust. That's why social media, and when you do Facebook fundraising or any peer-to-peer fundraising, why it's so successful over just doing an ask from an organization, because people may not believe with the organization that you're tied to, but they believe in you. And so they'll give to the organization because you ask them to. So my gift to everybody right now is, don't be afraid to ask your friends or relatives for something you're passionate about. because they'll give to you. And instead of your birthday giving you a present that you may not want, or that Christmas sweater or whatever, give a gift to one of the nonprofits, or somebody that needs food, somebody that needs something else. And that's what I'm going to do this year. Is I'm not going to be focusing on any of that. I'm going to try to look out there some way I can help others instead of gifting, because Rick, at our age, we're trying to purge. We're trying to get rid of
No, I need more ice cream.
Is that what it
about
is?
ice cream.
Well, the Northport Art Center at the Artisan Market will have a bowl for sale that comes with an ice cream coupon this Saturday, and that's one of
I'll be
the
there.
nonprofits. That's one of the nonprofits. Thank you, everybody. Our guests for the next hour are coming up, and we're going to go on a tour with Sarasota Cruise. We're going to go on cruise with the Sarasota.
Good luck to all you guys, okay?
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everybody. Now, Rick, would you like to stay on with me for this hour?
Well, I don't know if I'll stay the whole hour, but I'm interested. My sister rode crew. And yeah, the one in DC. She used to, and then she used to get out in her own skull and go up and down the Potomac.
Oh, really? Well, Susie, my daughter, that went to MIT. She wrote. She actually did crew at on the Charles River, St. Charles River, the Charles River up there
At MIT.
At MIT, she actually wrote.
Great exercise.
It is, and right now, I would have been strong enough before, Rick, to do crew. Okay. I'm such a weakling now. You know how I used to throw things around, boxes and stuff like that?
You throw me around on occasion.
I know, I did. Well, you know what? It's a time for a change of a hat. So as we're bringing on our next guest, this hour is Sarasota Crew Incorporated. And I am excited to bring them on. Rick Brown, hi.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we have John Capana, because I see that NA there.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. We're so excited to have you because I understand you'll be taking us on a tour, and we'll be able to see what you do and explain to the audience where you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. No. Oh, he's muted.
Sorry. I was having an athlete come into to the site. John and I are actually at our two different sites. So I will, and he's dealing with things with our middle school program at our original site at Old Spanish Point, and I'm over at our new site, which is less than a mile away. So John, I don't know if you have the time now to do a little bit of a tour.
Yeah,
you could maybe take it away and then I can fill in.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we'll just, I'm in the office right now. I guess I'll narrate through. So right now at our old site is primarily deals with the middle schoolers and the elementary schoolers and our adult rowers. So they usually row out of this particular site. So I'm walking through, we have like an office space here in the back, and I'm going to put on my mask because as all personnel, both volunteer, coaches, and athletes, we have masks on land. All right. So this is our boat yard area. All right. So we have there's two different kinds of rowing. There is sculling and sweeping. So most of our sculling equipment, so that's 2 oars, that is here. Okay. So we have about 70 of these one-person boats scattered around this particular site, along with a lot of our other sculling boats, so doubles and quads. Let's see here. We also house the middle school 8s here. So those are the big team boats you've probably seen. I heard Marie mentioning the Charles, and then Rick, you mentioned the Potomac. So yeah, those are probably the boats y'all have seen out and about. All right. So we're walking through the boat bay. All right, and then we have this great area here behind me. You can see the sun's in the back. We have boats specifically for the elementary schoolers and the middle schoolers behind me. All right.
Single skull, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
That's what my sister did on the Potomac. Yeah. She wasn't a team member.
And the cool thing, really? Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that as we were coming in. But yeah, so we have equipment specifically for the elementary and middle schoolers. That equipment tends to get a little bit more love than the other ones. The high schoolers can take a little bit better care of the equipment, but yeah, the middle school and elementary schoolers get specific equipment that might get a little roughed up, but it's okay, because they're definitely still learning. Walking you down to the water here, and the kids are just now launching out, so we may be coming upon a little bit of chaos, but
that's exciting.
But it's a fun sight to see all the kids out. And not rowing, this kind of dirt road loop area to do running, calisthenics. We have a stage area where they meet. There it is behind me. And so we use that for core activities, that kind of stuff. And then, when they are not doing calisthenics, running, core, that kind of stuff, they play games. Typically, a lot of times we do that with the elementary schoolers. So, yeah. So let's see where, again, it's going to be a little chaotic.
What is the body of water you're on?
We are on the intercoastal.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we're coming upon them right now.
So yeah, both of our facilities are technically in Osprey, and so we got little Sarasota Bay there on the intercoastal.
Yeah. So you can see they're milling about here. We just put an 8 in the water, and then they're going to be putting their oars in, as well as there's going to be kids that also row in just the singles. So they'll be they're kind of helping each other out, and now they're scattering to get their own equipment. So yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. That's the process here in middle school. So it's a lot of wild stuff, because there's a lot of kids running around.
You have kids. You have kids coming from different middle schools, or just one in particular?
Every single one of them need help with their boats. But
John, you're breaking up a little bit, so I'll take over maybe until you come back.
We have
evenly
middle schools from all parts of Sarasota County.
Yeah, so our kids come from we're accepting of anywhere and everywhere, any school, and certainly the ones that are closest to our facilities probably have the most. But we've had kids travel over an hour to get to us to do it. Obviously, it's only certain locations that you're able to participate.
And when you want to row, you want to row.
That's right. That's right.
Understand. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How many kids does he have out there?
So every day is different. Our middle school program runs Monday through Saturday, and not the same kids show up every day. So in elementary school is Monday and Friday afternoons. So depending on the day, yesterday we probably had about 30 or 40 down there. Today is a little bit smaller, 10. But as you probably saw the glimpse behind John, there's plenty of room to space out, even on a day where it's unsafe to go out because of weather. Yesterday was a perfect example. It was super windy and weren't able to get anybody out on the water safely. We are able to spread out and do activity on land, which would have happened anyway. But during this time of COVID, we're able to continue to have some pretty safe operations, which we're certainly lucky to have.
Yeah, I stopped out at the South Jetties this morning, and there must have been about 50 surfers out there because the waves. I mean, it's more waves action today than I've seen in several years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been on the rough side.
Yeah, we're not such big fans for the
No.
those warnings coming through, but luckily it's calmed down this afternoon, and it looks like John's able to get some boats out on the water. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, not a bad place to spend the afternoon by any means. And the middle school, both the elementary school program and middle school program. What's that? Is he able to get it back on? I don't know. It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, a little bit. You're muted for a bit there.
Okay. Sorry. I'm just now tuning back in. So I'm observing right now. The kids are getting themselves on the water, so we got a boat in the water now, and so they're gonna be putting oars in. So I'm observing that process.
Yeah, if you want to just put your screen on your video on them for a bit, John. It jumps around a little bit, but if you want to put your screen on there, I can. Might be fun for people to watch, and I can talk about it a little bit as well. But I was just saying, our middle school program, we have a few more weeks before the holidays of the current program, and then we start back up in January, and no experience is necessary. Obviously, it's not a sport. I mean, we're one of the only programs in the country that has an elementary school program. And we do have kids who start with us in elementary, go through middle school and high school, and then earn their way onto a college team. But there are also kids that come to us in middle school or high school as well and start at that point. So that's one of the beauties of the sport and the activity is that it's accepting at any age and can be done into. I've seen people in the club I was at previous to this one. We had a member who was 93 years old, and she would go out on the water by herself. So it's definitely a advantage to the sport is it's a lifelong sport. So we like to be able to teach kids young, but also allow people out for years and years. Pretty fun to see. Yeah. So the activity that John had. Oh, you're back, Marie.
I was going to ask you a question. I go to things that have dragon boat racing, and I think a lot of people think of it similar to what crew is. What is the difference? Because
good question. So I experienced dragon boating a number of years ago, as after I'd started my rowing career and was actually starting to coach, and a club that I was at the time had some dragon boats, and so I wanted to learn more about the sport. The boats are definitely different, but similar if you don't know a lot. I mean, in terms of long, skinny, you can fit quite a few people in them. Dragon boating is much more of a core and upper body workout. It's a paddling sport. It's similar to if you a lot of people have been in a canoe, so it's basically a canoe on steroids. So a nice long canoe. You can fit 20 people in it paddling at the same time in most dragon boats, the biggest dragon boats, and it's much more of a you're just have one paddle and you're out to the one side the entire time. With rowing, it's a full body workout in terms of the seat underneath you slides, so you actually use your lower body most of all. Most of your power comes from your lower body, but then you also have the movement of your upper body and arms. It's one of the best full body workouts you can get out there. The rowing shells go faster because you are using more of your body. But there's definitely some similarities in terms. I mean, obviously they're both on the water, but the unison of trying to match up multiple people doing the same thing at the same time in team boats is certainly a challenge in both sports. So there are great things about both, and we don't have dragon boats at our locations, but certainly something that you see on similar bodies of water. And as you see in the background of John's shots there, I mean, it's a pretty beautiful spot to be able to spend the afternoon.
Is it Spanish Point?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then our location that I'm at, that I'll take you on a tour of here in a second, is just south of where you're seeing that boat. Same body of water, just south.
Gotcha.
We can have the kids run back and forth, row back and forth.
So you're at the historic Spanish Point, which is considered Osprey, is that, or just north of that in Sarasota, and it was just now affiliated with Selby.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We had somebody on one of our other shows, and actually the president executive director of Selby Gardens, and they just had adopted them, historic Spanish Point. So just for people to know, if you purchase a membership to either historic Spanish Point or Selby Gardens, you can actually go to both places and it's the same price. I just wanted to throw that one in.
Good plug. Yep. Yeah, so maybe what I'll do, if the timing's right, unless John wants to jump on with anything else, maybe I'll take us on a little tour of our location here, our new location.
And you have the full hour, so it's all yours.
All right, sounds good. John, are you able to stay on if you want to stay out there, or go back in the office? That'd be fine too. I'm not sure if he has access. All right, so we have a temporary building that I've been in, and just a little office space that we're able to have. We opened this facility at the beginning of this year, and obviously had to have some pretty quiet time here, but have been really lucky to have it during the year because we're able to spread out that much more. I'm gonna, like John, put my mask on because we have some of our high school rowers here. So our high school team meets at this location. We also have, in the mornings, we have a collegiate group of athletes who are here. I'm gonna kind of walk backwards and try and get some video behind me too. So we have a large tent area at this point. Our dream, our goal is to have a permanent facility here within the next year or two. And yet at this point, again, it's been pretty nice because we're able to open up the doors and have a nice open air area to even work out if it's storming and spread the kids out. But we have some racks inside the facility, as well as some boat racks outside. And as John mentioned earlier, we have mostly bigger boats here at this location. But we're able to have the kids access both locations. The high school kids it's common for them to go from one location to the other. So maybe if I can try and show inside one of these boats. I don't know if this video is going to really be great, but this is the seat that many people are surprised it moves on these tracks. It's obviously upside down. And then shoes come inside the boat. So you take off your shoes, come in, and it's all there for you. As I mentioned earlier, one of the best full body workouts you can get.
How stable are those boats?
What's that?
How stable are those boats?
Good question.
Oh, I lost your audio.
Here, we lost your audio. Let me see if I can do anything on my end for him. No, it's on his end. So I'll take him out of the stream and bring him back up and see if that helps. And okay, go ahead, Rick. You were doing fine, and we lost your audio. Do me a favor and log out and then log back in, and it'll probably bring it back in. Rick, we do have though Joe back on. I see
Yeah.
Joe in there, and he's frozen. So we will do that. You and I actually I can see his picture in the background, but we can't see it up on screen. So Rick,
So what?
this is really interesting to learn about your sister that she did crew. And she actually didn't belong to a group. She actually did it on her own.
Yes, I'm not real sure how she got started because I don't know, but I do know that she would get out in a scull out on the Potomac on occasion, mainly for good exercise. As Rick was saying, it's an awesome total body workout, and so she would do it at least once a week. She'd go out.
And we have both. Rick, I think you're back, right? No, his audio is not back. Yeah.
Hey, how about
Oh, there
Yeah.
you are.
now? All right.
There you are. And John, you're there too, right, John?
I am back.
Okay, good. So I'm going on.
And she was gone.
Yep.
As mysteriously as she entered, right?
I had asked you how stable the fin.
Yeah.
They don't have a rudder per se, do they? Or a keel?
Well, yeah, no, not to balance. There is a bit of a steering in some of the boats that can help with some of the steering, but a single person boat is very unstable. If not, like if we just threw somebody in it that didn't know what they were doing, it would be pretty tough to stay stabilized. We start people out mostly when we start in singles with pontoons on either side, which add stability and makes a single very, very difficult to flip. And the oars are all quite long and add stability as well. So if you have control of your oars, so any boat that has more oars is going to be more stable. So, and as I tell people when they're first starting out, when you get into a rowing shelf for the first time, it feels like you're going to go over, and it's tippy. But with the oars, you only tip so far. So that's one of the nice things about it is that once you get the hang of it, you get used to it. But it's certainly, we recognize that it's uncomfortable for a lot of people when they're first starting out. You're very close to the water, which is an awesome feeling and an advantage of the sport, and one of those really neat things. But it also can be pretty intimidating to somebody just starting out. So we really try and start folks at a slow pace, and with the pontoons when we start them out in singles. John actually has a learn to row class starting this weekend that there'll be adults that are starting out with pontoons and singles and able to kind of learn at their own speed and be able to get caught up to speed.
Why are the oars so long? Is that to get more time in the water?
Yeah. There's
as opposed to a paddle.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So it's the torque and the physics behind it of how far out the sculling, which is when each rower has two oars. So obviously a single person boat. We have doubles and quads, four person boats that are sculling. Those oars are actually a little bit shorter than when each rower has one oar, which is obviously 2-person, 4-person, or 8-person boat. And those sweep oars are a bit longer. Maybe what I'll do, John, if you want to talk a little bit, maybe I'll go back out and see if I can get my audio working and be able to show some oars and some things at this location.
As you were walking out there, Rick, it looked like there were people inside that tented area practicing rowing. Is that true?
It is. Yeah, I might be able to.
Are they up on a raft?
One of them and talk about them. It may get a little loud, so John, maybe if I'm standing behind one of the kids on the erg, maybe you could talk a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And I can mute you on my end.
Yeah, and that's that's one of the great things about having these two sites, able to spread the different squads out, so that there's not so many kids, in one location. Also, it's a little bit easier to have the middle schoolers, the elementary schoolers on one end, kind of with themselves. But yeah, it's a great benefit to the two different sites. And then the adult rowers, they operate pretty much in the morning entirely. So they kind of avoid all the chaos of the youth and have their own practice time and their own designated
senior time.
So yeah, exactly. You know, it's a it's a little bit different of a feel, a different environment. I coach the masters, the adults, the middle schoolers, and the elementary schoolers, and of course, the masters. It's they get a little bit different of a coaching experience than the middle schoolers, the elementary schoolers. But you can see Rick here is in front of the oars. Those are our sweep oars, so they're the longer ones. So in the boats like the 8s, a rower would have one of those, and it'd be extending out to either their left or their right side. And yeah, when everyone's moving together with all 8 of those oars, those boats can go pretty darn quick. So he's pulling it out there for you. Yeah, and so you can see just how far it would go out. So that green sleeve there on the oar, that's where it attaches to the boat. So everything from the green sleeve to the white blade is extending out of the boat into the water. So it's a good amount of length that gets put in the water or put outside the boat. And then this is one of our athletes here practicing on the rowing machine. You can see that it approximates the movement of the rowing stroke. So he's on that moving seat. He's got a handle. He's using, you can see his entire body, primarily legs, but you can see the whole body's moving into that motion. So it's an incredible, as Rick mentioned, just an incredible total body workout. And rowers are among the most fit athletes in the world. And I would say that our athletes are pretty good as well. So yeah.
We lost Rick. I don't
Yes,
know what you went to.
I had to kick myself out because everyone was freezing on me. I have a brand new computer that gives me a hard time. Of course, it could be me too. Question. I know that the Sarasota crew, there are not a lot of organizations such as yours, but do the kids get to compete against other crews from other places?
Yes, they definitely do. I mean, obviously in a typical year, they definitely do. The competitive opportunities are a little bit limited this year, but I mean, the youth especially, there's a stretch, especially in the spring, where there is at least one regatta, one competition a month, if not multiple in a month. So sometimes we have back-to-back race weekends where we're either here in Sarasota competing at Nathan Benderson Park, or we're traveling. But yeah, there's race opportunities both in the fall and the spring, and there's a lot of them. So
all levels to it, I would imagine, from elementary up through college kids are all competing.
Yeah, so it's the great thing about our program is that we have the elementary school program. The vast majority of programs do not have elementary schoolers.
You got to get them when they're young.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then, I mean, it's great. If we had any elementary schoolers out, you'd see them. I mean, they're so small and they're like in these big boats, and I mean, they're just splashing around, having a good time. But when we host a race as a program, we make sure that we include those race opportunities for the elementary schoolers. So
I've seen that. People are freezing up on me.
Yeah, people are freezing on you.
9 of them that race.
That long lake that runs parallel to 75, was that where you hold your regattas?
Correct. Some of them.
Yes. Yeah, so Benderson Park is am I back? Can you guys hear me all right?
Name of it?
Yeah. It's actually the only course in the country that can host a world-class FISA event in terms of, I mean, there are all sorts of regulations in terms of what water depth and everything that needs to be. So that when they built that out, they made it so that it's hosted a world championships a few years ago and host world-class events. So we're pretty lucky to have that in our backyard as well and be able to host anything from our small. We actually have an event up there with just our club in 3 weeks. So we're able to get up there and use that at times as well, which is really nice bonus to have in our backyard.
For sure. I mean, it's a big lake. I mean, you can do some rowing out there.
Yep, definitely. It's exactly, it's just over 2,000 feet, 2,000 meters long, which is the international race distance for international competition, and then high schools and colleges race that distance as well. So pretty nice to have perfect kind of rectangle set up to be able to have events out there when we're able to have events.
How long have you guys been in existence, the Sarasota crew?
John, do you want to speak to that? You're on mute. Sorry, John. Put you on the spot and then have you unmute.
Oh, I'm almost positive I'm going to get it wrong, but I want to say, at least 2003, 2004.
Okay.
I could check myself here.
Was there an organization prior to yours, or?
No, so there are 2 rowing programs in the area, but we've been here at this location since our founding. So let's see here. Power of the internet. 2002. Yep,
2002. Okay. Yeah. So, and I assume you're a nonprofit organization?
We are. Yep, very much so. The year has been difficult on us, like everyone, but there have been some bright spots to it, and we've been able to invest in some more land equipment, more singles, the ability to spread people out. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have the space to spread people out. We have more cleaning and check-in process and require masks being worn on land as people are arriving, and as John said, all of our staff are required to wear masks around others. So it's been a learning experience for us, but certainly been one we've been able to I think get through in a strong way that we'll be able to continue to hit the ground running as we come out of it.
Well, during your pivot with this year with pivoting, I imagine it was very difficult to bring everybody together because nobody was really getting a definite answer how to actually make it all happen. Correct?
It was. The sport nationally has really struggled with it in terms of what should be done, can be done. The national governing body of rowing really struggled with what recommendations do we say or can be done or not. I think another beauty of our situation is our sport can be done outside. The fact that we're in Florida doing our sport at this point, there are a lot of teams across the country who've had to stop training their on the water training and only look to what they're going to be doing off the water. So the fact that we can be on the water year round here is great, and being outside with it and having the open air, being in single person boats, there's been a lot more single person boats rowing across the country where we were set up in a way already of having quite the fleet to be able to handle that. So that was a great advantage we had to kind of jump back into operations and do it in a safe way, and because we had those.
And I have to giggle at you guys today because you're dressed with jackets and that, and because it's one of the colder days that we've had this year here at least right now, and it's kind of refreshing to see that. But that also becomes an issue because for us, we're not used to cold on the water, and tomorrow is supposed to be one of the coldest days that we've had all year. So what do you do when it gets cold?
If I could take, I'm a Sarasota, I'm a Florida native through and through. Up until like 45 minutes ago, I had like my hoodie and my vest and then my flip flops on as well. So yes, I mean for Floridian, it's pretty cold right now. I'm bundled up, but getting out on the water, it works out well because you know, you can, like, there's obviously a lot of cold weather endurance clothes that you can wear. And you know, with layers, once you get warmed up, I mean, the sport is great because it's a good workout, but also in the cold, since it's a good workout, you get warmed up pretty quickly. So by the end of a practice, especially like with the adults, by the end of the practice, they're down to just like, you know, the short and the rowing trout versus, you know, coming out bundled up. So, you know, in Florida, it's really not bad. I'm a big baby when it comes to cold, but it's really not bad. But they also have like stuff for rowing up north. They have, what are those, Rick? Are those pogies? Are that what they're called? They're like things that go over your hands and cover your hands. We don't really need those here. I've seen some people out in like, you know, 40-degree weather with that, but I mean, I've seen pictures of teams rowing out in the snow up north, and yeah. So
I grew up in northeastern Minnesota. When we were doing a tour today with the blood bank, they went into 14 below. I said, that's nothing. 20 below, 40 below. You walk on the snow and it crunches, you know, that type of thing. So when, Rick, are you back with us now?
Yeah, I am. Oh, the other Rick.
Yeah, there's two of you, Rick. Rick, are you hearing us?
Well, I am and I'm not. There's some freezing going on. But.
Okay, well, I'll try to stay on with you guys. I was trying to kind of pull back and that, you know, it's really interesting, and I'll put us all like this so we can all talk about all the pivots that you've had to go through this year. And when I'm looking at both of you and what you're doing with the youth, because the youth, especially for these kids, and I've been talking about mental health a lot today, because the mental health of the students, the teachers, you know, this is a real stressful time for all of us, and none of us have gone through anything like this before. So we're actually pivoting and learning as we go. You know, in life is about learning as you go anyhow. We learn from mistakes and that. But what are you seeing among the youth that you're actually working with, and among yourselves? How's your mental health?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Marie. I think it's been one of the highlights of this year, really, is to see our sport and us be able to continue to provide something for everybody, and in a very safe way. We actually had just a week or two ago, we had a parent of an elementary school, one of our elementary school rowers, reach out to us and say, this has been, I mean, their experience rowing has been a lifesaver and the highlight of 2020 for them, because they've been able to, we're still able to provide a sense of community. We're still able to provide an activity. We're still able to provide an outdoor outlet. And that connection with an activity plus people, which is a blessing that was ripped away from so many people in society. And I'm a huge believer in the fact that exercise, in addition to being outside, in addition to being near the water, I mean, you can go study after study on all the positives of those, and having those and being able to provide it in a safe way has been really a huge positive for a lot of people. School is different, even for those kids who are in school. It's certainly different in being able to, and not to say our operations haven't changed. We definitely have taken lots of precautions, but that we're still able to get the group together and have a sense of team that is really valuable at any time. But this year has been a huge example of why it's so important.
And how are you doing, Rick? And not Rick Johnstone, because I muted him because he was moving things around. And John, how are you doing? Because it's affected you, both in your personal life and what you're doing right now, working with Sarasota Crew. Now, is that a full-time job for you, or is that something that you do on the side?
Yeah. Do you want to start, John, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll start. Yeah, I mean, this is a full-time job for me, as well as Rick. I mean, as far as I'm doing, number one, thank you for asking. Appreciate that. No, it's been a wild year for sure. But I think to Rick's point, like my community has been rowing even when I was not a rower. So like I said, I grew up here in Sarasota. And I knew a lot of rowers that were actually on Sarasota Crew. And like my sense of community has come from this sport even before I started rowing here. So I think that in navigating this time, it's been very helpful to have that support system from the people. I mean, the people I rowed with in college, people I knew in high school, and now, you know, coworkers that we're all kind of just trying to navigate the same thing, you know, in different ways. So it's been good. Obviously, some challenging times throughout the year. But I'm really just proud of, you know, Sarasota Crew, but also just the overall rowing community that we've all banded together, and, you know, in our different areas of the country to just kind of keep moving forward. Yeah. So
you're okay.
Doing all right.
You're doing okay. We haven't become alcoholics through this or anything. Right?
Kids.
That's actually, I did an interview with somebody that is working with mental health, and they're doing a match up to $10,000 for a Charlotte Behavioral Health Center in Punta Gorda in Charlotte County. And one of the things is the mental health has gone up so much, and they've seen an uptick. Not that it wasn't bad enough, but in the alcohol use and drug use. So, and I imagine with your kids, that you run across some of that at times too.
For sure. I mean, when we were running our summer camp programming, and like just kind of the word on the ground with the other coaches, with the athletes that I encountered, there was, you know, obviously a lot of stress. Like parents were experiencing stress, the kids were experiencing stress, the coaches were experiencing stress. So, you know, we as coaches, you know, like especially, yeah, we as coaches obviously want to see the athlete succeed in the athletic realm, but obviously our role stretches towards, you know, just helping them become better people and helping them better navigate life and all its craziness. So there's you know, we definitely experienced and saw that in the athletes, and you know, I think this has been a really good outlet for them to continue and to continue to grow in a pretty stressful time. But we have seen it for sure. It is wearing on them. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Rick.
Back in the corner. Kids in high school, and I'll start at that point, they join a sports team, basketball, baseball, football. They dream of going to the NFL, the NBA, earning the big bucks down the road. Is there a professional crew? I know that in the Olympics they have crew, but is that pretty much the height of one's ambition as far as rowing is concerned?
Well, other than turning into John or myself, who are full-time rowing employees. I mean, it doesn't get much better than us, I think.
Absolutely.
So one of and we do have a great setting and a great place to work. So all joking aside, it's pretty fun place to be. One of the benefits that the sport has seen, this sort of answers professionally, no, not really as an athlete. One of the benefits the sport has seen in the last 20 years is mostly because of Title IX, which one of the parts of Title IX is to try and equalize athletic opportunity for female athletes as well as male, equalize them to the male counterparts. And because of that, rowing has really benefited, the sport of rowing has benefited nationally with a lot of programs popping up at places like University of Iowa and Texas and Ohio State and everywhere that has big football programs. And these schools have tried to equalize the number of athletes participating, female athletes participating, as well as the money and the resources that are spent. And rowing is a sport that you can have big rosters and you can spend quite a bit of money for those rosters as well. So there's been a lot more opportunity at the collegiate level. And because of that, it's way above any other sport in terms of the number of high school athletes in turning into college scholarships. So there are a lot of opportunities for high school athletes to move on to the next level. And even if it's not scholarship money, athletic scholarship money, it's the opportunity to get into a dream school or a stretch school as well. So that's one of the things that a lot of folks have turned on to. There certainly is the national team system. We're lucky enough our executive director and head coach, Casey Galvanic, has been very keyed in and was just hired as the head coach of the junior national team in the United States.
Cool.
And so there's definitely opportunities for athletes to compete at the highest international level. And we've had a number of athletes that have trained with us that have moved on to those levels and are training with the under 23 group as well as the senior team, looking at potential seats and boats for the Olympics, assuming they happen this summer.
Right. And I popped in here because of you talking about that, because I'm friends with Jimmy Dean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I actually sent him a link. I was trying to get him to come in.
Oh, that would be great.
And come into the stream and that to talk about, because his son was with you guys, right? Is that where he started?
Yep. He started as a young kid, and pretty funny to see. So his son is Clark Dean, for anybody who knows the Dean family. And his son started as a little kid, little scrawny kid, and turned into a quite impressive, massive rower, who is now, he's a student at Harvard, but also training out in California with the national team, and with his hopes to make a boat for the Olympic team. Those seats have not been set yet, but he's one of the more accomplished junior rowers that has ever that the United States have ever had. He won 2 junior national championships, world championships in the single, which was the first time the U.S. had a singles rower win at the world's level since 1976, I think. And so he's definitely pretty impressive rower, and we're proud of him for sure.
I found it might be of interest. I found a picture of him from his younger years. This is him. He is much bigger, much stronger. But these were the humble beginnings. And here was supposed to go through. So I thought that would be valuable for you guys to see.
Priceless. Oh, and that's one of the things about crew, about doing that, because it builds up that upper body strength. And
the whole body.
And the whole body, but it depends on what part you're looking for. And that builds up muscle, and it also builds up teamwork too, right?
Yeah. The challenge of it, sometimes we compare the rowing stroke to a golf stroke, and you're trying to master one particular motion over and over again. And to do that, if anybody's golfed, knows it's not necessarily the easiest thing to master, even though you're only doing one thing over and over again. But then trying to do that with another person or 7 other people in unison is a very difficult challenge. But when you get it, there's not quite anything that feels like it. the reward of it is pretty impressive and pretty fun to have that flow when you're in a boat doing it together. But yeah.
I have canoed with my sister, and I'm telling you, it's a sight to see. It's yeah, okay. And I would seem to me that the overhead is astronomical in what you do. Even, I mean, what does one single skull cost? Not to mention maintenance and housing and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the 8-person boats are upwards of $40,000 for
You go.
a new boat. And yeah, and singles are less than that, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, what do you? I know you thrive on donations and whatnot, and of course, Giving Tuesday. That's why we're here. Pour in the money, people. What else do you do to raise funds to keep you going? I mean, again, my grandson takes sailing lessons with the Englewood Yacht Sailing people, and he pays a nominal fee to sail with them all summer. I assume that you guys would do that also as a token, couple bucks.
Yeah. So we have fees that our members pay. We're proud to have a scholarship system that folks who are in need are able to participate as well. So we definitely have, and we have year-round programming, not only during the school year, but certainly in the summer and host camps, and have a lot of programming going on that we're able to play a role in and have revenue sources coming in, which all, of course, have expenses as well to match as well. We definitely rely on fundraisers and donations and all sorts of grants as well to help our budget meet what it needs to. We actually, and one program that we just started during this whole COVID excitement is a program we're calling the Newtown Rowing Initiative, and it's a program that we're working with some representatives from Newtown, and have kids from Hooker High School and the Newtown area that wouldn't have ever found rowing on their own that are coming down and rowing with us, and we're able to provide the experience to those kids at no or little cost to them, depending on the need. So that's been a really fun addition for what we do. We've always been very open environment and accept anybody, but it's definitely a sport that's known to be, its history is white, and we're trying to do our part to change that. Yeah.
The occasional bake sale and boat wash, I would imagine. So
we've done it all.
I bet. Can you give us some contact information that people can use to get a hold of you? If they do, you have volunteers? I would imagine you do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That work with you also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our website's pretty easy, sarasotacrew.org, and all the information of being able to donate in terms of Giving Tuesdays is certainly up there. And then all of our programs and how to get started if you're interested to start as a volunteer or as a participant, again, at any age, we'll certainly get you everything you need to know. My email is rick@sarasotacrew.org, so folks can reach out directly by email, and contact information for all of us is on our website as well. So easiest is sarasotacrew.org.
I'll bet you have a Facebook page also.
We do. Yep.
And
Sarasota Crew, just Instagram, and again, one of the beauties of our sport is it's a pretty beautiful thing to take some pictures of. So it's not too hard for us to fill up our Facebook and Instagram feeds with pretty nice shots.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking us around and showing us the ropes, so to speak. It's interesting. If I wasn't so old, I might sign up for an adult class. It looks like
not too old.
Oh, my back. You'd fix that back though, wouldn't you? Marie, come on back. Marie, where are you?
Yeah, there was a point, Rick, where we've had, I think on this team, someone within the past couple of years that was 79, and at the same time, someone that's 20 years old in the adult program. So there's a huge range of abilities and ages and experience levels. So truly anyone. I know Rick probably resonates that we've seen it all. So anyone can come out and enjoy the sport for sure.
Yeah, and it's really neat experience that you can try it. I mean, you can learn something at any age too. I think some of the people that in their 60s and 70s that I've taught to learn to row over the years have been some of the people who've been most excited about it, because it's this new experience of trying something new at that age that they haven't gotten in many years. And then there's the quest of trying to master it over the next few years, or 10, 20 years, which keeps you busy as well. And I would argue till I'm blue in the face that I think it's a great sport for adults, because it's a great sport for anybody, because it gets you away from your phones and social media and whatever, and you have to focus on what you're doing. So I mean, again, going back to studies that are out there about adults doing crosswords or whatever, I think I would say rowing can rival that, because you're so focused in on what you're doing. It's great for the mind as well as the physical activity.
See, I go out into my backyard and I trim and prune my bonsai trees. That's my therapy.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't drown. So, there's that.
You don't. And talking about that is, you were talking to the audience here, Rick and I, because we're both in our 70s, believe it or not. But first of all, I'd have to get into the boat. No, that might be.
Yeah.
There's always that you have to actually be able to get into that boat. So and you were talking that people do that, and I was thinking core, because that's one of the things as an adult, as a senior. Rick, I hate calling me a senior. That is just stick a fork in me. But as a older person, the core is what actually goes down on us. Because as we get older, that's what I've noticed, because I used to be very strong. I was probably one of the strongest women around that I knew, because I knew a lot of women. Right, Rick? Johnstone?
Yes, ma'am.
He and I worked. I was very strong. I'm not strong anymore. I've lost my core. And that's one of the things that does help with. What would you suggest for us older people that are losing the core to get out there and row?
So one nice thing, and John can jump in as well, because he coaches our adults, but one nice thing with the sport is the rowing machines that are on land offer the ability to do it without the need to be on the water and the stress that may bring. So you can get the motion, and I showed earlier a couple kids that were rowing on the indoor machines, and that is you're able to try it out there, build your strength through that before even getting on the water too. So that's one of the places. And when gyms are up and running fully again, I mean most every gym has some rowing machines there that you can try out.
Well, I can tell you this. We have a rowing machine. Remember Miss MIT?
There you go.
And she came back home. And one of the machines that we moved back home is a rowing machine. And I will actually look at bringing it back in the house, because we had to move it out to the garage right now because of a remodel thing going on. But we do have one, and it's one of the high-end ones. So it's just, if I get down, I may need help to get up. Just so you know.
We want to see video, Marie. We need video proof.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk to you all before we go off air because we're going to bring RJ on with us too. He's a station manager here, and he's responsible for some insane thing like this all volunteer radio station to give people, it's community radio, to give people like you from Rick and John from Sarasota Crew the opportunity to come on and talk about what you do. And we were able to actually use video. And I'm so excited to bring on the station manager with us. And I'll be taking you guys off air when we go to do stuff. Come on over, RJ. And here we go. RJ is here with us. And this is the station manager. Yeah, I have my mask here. Yeah, but he has his hat on too. And
you can't be with Marie and not have a hat.
Yes, that's what I'm known for. And you know what? So are you guys. You also
yeah, Rick,
hats.
Where's your hat?
Yeah, Rick is going to the back and get his
He's
hat.
opening up his very face.
That's cool.
And you know what? You have green on. I got a green one right here.
Now, Marie, where do you get those hats? You said you make them yourself?
No, not. I've made a few. A lot of them I buy. I have people that I have been involved with community theater here, so I know a lot of costumers. So they can whip me up a hat in no time. And I actually have taught a hat making class. So you know what? It's a personality. Look at Rick Johnstone. He looks. What is that kind of a hat? Is that a fedora? Oh, well, he's gone. There he goes. Yeah. But I would like to thank all of you guys today. And remember, if you can do anything today, be kind. Because kindness, just pay it forward. What is the need that the Sarasota Crew has? What is your biggest need? Is it finances? Is it volunteers?
Yeah, at this point, it's finances. We do have need for volunteers. The tricky thing with volunteers is just it adds more people and spacing them out and figuring out when we can use them and whatnot. But we certainly always have the need for volunteers as well. We are looking to expand and like the Newtown Rowing Initiative that I mentioned earlier is certainly one we're trying to grow and grow that opportunity of scholarships for folks to row that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity. So that's certainly where we're looking to grow.
Well, thank you both for coming on with us today. And I really know that Sarasota Crew is a great opportunity for the surrounding youth in the area. And Rick, you're taking off your glasses so you can see me less, correct?
Yeah, you're over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a pleasure to be on.
Very interesting.
Something about Crew before you guys go. My daughter participated in Crew all through high school and going into college, and it had a huge impact on her life. So what you guys are doing is a great thing.
Yep.
You know, she learned how to work together, which I think is a very important quality. And along those lines, she bought me a rowing machine because she said I was too old to be jogging. So I and she says, "How's it going, Pop?" I said, "Yeah, it's great, but you know, it doesn't float."
I thought you were going to say you got to get on it.
It makes it work even better if I actually get on it.
Well, do you use it for a clothes hanging rack?
It works great as a clothes hanger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep up the good work, guys. It's amazing.
Thank you so much for having us.
And I brought up on the website, but just for everybody to know, if you look across the bottom, just go to Giving Tuesday SWFL, and their logo is up under the photo album. Click on it. You'll find all their information there. Get a hold of them. Support Sarasota Crew and any of your nonprofits out there today, because today is Giving Tuesday right here in Southwest Florida, and we're so happy to have had you guys on today. So see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're back on with the three of us, and look at, we're all in green with our hats. And I'm just going to say to everybody out there, I do have another stream coming up, but the two people work with the animals and they won't be able to come on. So we're going to end it right here because this girl is tired and she wants to go home. I've been on the radio today
since 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah. And thank you to this man here, our station manager, RJ Malloy, for staying here with me. Is that in your background, Rick?
That's my knee. That one for a while.
Oh, that's your knee, somebody moving a chair. Anyhow, to the audience out there, we really appreciate you coming on and supporting us. And I want to have RJ talk a little bit about what we're trying to raise $20,000 for one of the efforts that we have coming up, because a lot of you out there can't hear you. But if you say to your Alexa thing,
I'm gonna leave
because we're freezing up. Play WKDW 97.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay. Bye-bye, Rick. If you say to your Alexa, play WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio, she'll come on. And if you were listening right now, she just came on for you. Thank you very much. RJ, would you talk about why we're raising money?
We have an opportunity coming up next year. The FCC will be opening the window the first time in quite a few years for non-commercial educational station programming. And it's on the lower end of the FM dial between around 80.1 to 88.
Money to be able to go for the permitting.
Right, we have permitting costs, we have construction costs, we have equipment costs, which is very expensive. Right now we run on a low power transmitter, which is expensive in itself. When we get up into 1,000 watts, those transmitters become quite expensive. So we really do want to do this to expand the community that we have now. And it's just an expensive process, and hopefully we'll be able to accomplish that goal.
And one of the things I do want to say to our audience as we're signing off here, thank you for all of you that may have hung in with us all day, off and on during the day. And also, there's one thing that we are asking everybody to be, and that's to be kind. That doesn't cost you anything. It's a priceless gift. And don't we need that in this world?
We certainly do. I mean, just because we disagree doesn't mean we need to hate each other.
Right. It's okay to have a conversation. Please go out there and do something kind in your community, whether it's for your neighbor. Maybe you have extra food you can give to a food bank. Whatever it does, take the time and pay it forward. And that's what Giving Tuesday is about, is generosity. No matter where you see yourself in generosity, because everybody has something to give.
And sometimes just a smile and hello is more than enough. So try that every now and then.
Right. And I know it's hard to smile behind a mask when you're out there, but you can smile with your eyes. So thank you, everybody, for coming on with us today. Have a great day. Be safe out there. Follow CDC guidelines, and we'll see you next time, next year. And just come on to us. Come on to WKDW 97.5 FM Rural Community. I'm Marie LaBrasse.
I'm RJ Malloy.
And you're listening to us on Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida. We're voices on the radio station on WKDW 97.5 FM Rural Community Radio. of Northport, Florida.
And we're done.
And we're done. And we're out. Thank you all. And RJ has to run and take us off air. Thank you all.